Everybody there?
Yes, sir. Oh, I gotta put my phone on silent.
Silencia.
It's been a good week so far.
Yeah, everybody have a good week.
Yes. I'm ready for busy. But yeah, me too.
I'm ready.
It's a long week.
I'm glad tomorrow's Friday.
Oh, it is. We're not with that. Yeah.
God.
And we're working on cars.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more?
No, and then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
There's too many projects. It's nonstop.
Oh, my gosh. So many projects. Yeah, this weekend I actually get to work on cars, of course.
Sick.
Yeah. All right, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Ready.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. You were listening to Untitled Car Project. I'm Rob Spring.
I'm Grant Gonzalez.
Today we have special guest host Ian Fike.
Hello. Good to be back.
Thanks for being here. And our in-studio guest, Shaun Cain. Thanks for being here, Shaun.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, it's hot. It's hot in here still. We finally got air conditioning hooked up. You can probably hear it in the background a little bit, but
It feels so cool.
oh, it'll get better.
Needed it.
Yeah, this thing is this little studio is kind of a sweat box and no air movement. Good week. Everybody had a good week. We're gonna talk about some car projects. I've been doing some racing. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a YouTube channel.
Yep.
I'm not super excited about it, but we're working on it.
You will figure it out. There's technical difficulties.
Well, yeah.
It's another project.
Yep. I discovered today we were not on Pandora, but we are now.
Dope.
Fixed it.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah, things are going good. For the listener, tell your friends. Do a little social experiment. But just, tell your friends about the podcast. If we can get a few more followers, it'd be great. Hit follow button. We've got... the Facebook seems to be working pretty good. A lot of people on there. We're getting hit up a lot for friend requests and people following the page. It's pretty cool. Instagram, Untitled Car Project. Threads that we don't use. A Twitter that we haven't really used.
We also now have audio clips on Spotify.
We do have audio clips on Spotify.
For like the hot topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, working on the social media stuff. It's coming around.
Yay.
What else we got? Oh,
Shout out to Gene.
Shout out to Gene. Thanks for the awesome 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that made all our days reading that.
Yeah, it really did. That was awesome. Actually, I was going to say another Max update.
Okay.
So I reached out to him, I don't know, first thing this week and asked him how the project was going. He lowered the truck, what was it, 5 inches, I think?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, front and rear. Did an axle flip so he could get the back. In those trucks, you got to flip the axle over so that the mounting points are on the other side.
Do you want to do a recap for our listener or new people joining what it is? Max
So Max is, we challenged Max on his episode. Ian, you probably remember the race truck, right?
Yep.
He's doing it.
That's awesome.
He bought a truck. He is modifying it for racing. It's looking really good. It's a 2-door Ford Ranger.
Perfect.
I can't tell if it's a long bed or short bed. I didn't really pay attention.
I couldn't tell either.
Yeah.
But it's
it looks like a straight little truck.
Yeah.
He bought a whole new front clip for it. He's got like the wide body fenders and a pretty nice looking scooped hood on it.
Yeah.
It looks,
what?
Yeah.
And he bought it like that?
No, he bought the separate stuff and he's
cool.
putting it on there. Yeah.
Very cool.
But it's like a 90s truck body and then
Yeah.
the front's like the later 2000s.
Okay.
So,
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why it's more boxy and square, or like round boxy.
Yeah, it's kind of got that
like 2008
pre-runner look to it, right? Anyway, pretty cool.
It's gonna be
way cool.
It's gonna be exciting when it's done. I'm looking.
It really
forward to
is. Yeah, I asked him about motor stuff, and he says he's going to stick with the stock 2.3 at the moment.
Ooh.
He's just going to run that for a while, and then he's going to build a motor to put in it.
Is he building this for autocross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Super cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
How many trucks do you guys see out there?
In this region, not very many.
Yeah, like one I know
wouldn't
of.
think.
SCCA has a pretty fair turnout of trucks, and like we're going to go to Crows here over 4th of July weekend and do the race down there.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun event. Myself, Grant, and our buddy Jason, who his episode's out now, episode 10.
Yep.
Great stuff.
He agreed to go to Crows with us, so we're making a caravan down there, going to do the race.
And maybe one.
But
more
anyway,
person.
down there they get a fair truck class. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
There's a guy I know down there, Kurt Hill. He drives a K5 Blazer on a C5 chassis.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Coolest thing you've ever seen. Anyway, he's going to be there with that. There's
Nice.
a couple of C10s that come out Some really good stuff.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I know in the local area there's someone who runs a Jeep. I've seen with a BCA. It's a lower Jeep with wider
the
wheels.
Wrangler. Isn't the Wrangler?
No, it's a Cherokee.
A Cherokee. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And
Yeah.
he's got like 295 Hoosiers on
It's
it or something.
ridiculous.
Maybe he runs street tires
it
too.
was true. Well, when I raced against it like 2 years ago, it was in cam class.
Okay.
And when I saw it originally, I was scared. I was like,
Yeah.
it's either going to be something that dominates or it's going to be slow.
I can't remember
And that
whose
was
truck
like-
that is.
I can't remember either, but it was fun watching a fast guy.
Yeah. I took a ride in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So we get them on occasion. So it'll be pretty neat to have Max out there doing that.
I think trucks look great out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
they're
love seeing a setup
super
truck ripping around.
Yeah,
That's
super
cool.
fun. What were you going to say?
Now, aren't you building a truck too?
I am. Yeah.
Now, are you building it for autocross as well, or are you?
Yeah,
for,
it's going to be a race truck for sure. Probably some road course stuff, track days, whatever. But yeah, it's autocross for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be as low as I can get it within reason. I still want suspension, workable suspension.
Sure.
I've got all C5 running gear for it. We're still debating on the motor thing. The V12 or the LS swap.
E12.
What?
Yeah.
Sounds sick, dude.
Yeah. Actually, I found the pictures of that V12 in the file the other day. So
Oh, you did?
I did.
Nice.
Anyway, that's in the works. Been playing with that a little bit. Yeah, it's really good. Oh, wanted to shout out to EESCC, so Emerald Empire Sports Car Club. I went raced with them last weekend up at Hoodoo. It snowed, sleeted, rained, hailed, everything on Saturday. So I did not run because my car won't even get moving in the wet. But I rode with Jason Bromberger all day.
Yeah.
And just had a blast. Really good course setup. It was just super fun. But then Sunday dried up. I ran all day. I was competing with Tim Bodenheimer for top time of day. He edged me out by 8 thousandths of a second. Or 800ths, I'm sorry.
Okay.
81 thousandths, whatever. 0.08.
How was that like rallying in the snow with Jason?
It was, and that car, oh my gosh, because he's on Hoosiers, right? So, what he said, the car makes 300 horsepower, something like 320. It was a lot of fun because he pitches the car even when it's dry. You know? So he's just sliding it through every element, and trying not to hit stuff. And it was super fun. Oh, man. Really good time.
I wish I would have gone. That would have been fun.
It was a great weekend. Great people. They set up a really good course up there. Hoodoo is actually, I feel like, is a pretty good size lot. We had a 50-plus second course. So, that's pretty average for autocross.
That's really good size.
Yeah, so they got a great big lot out in front of the lodge. A little bit gravelly in places for a few runs until everybody kind of hits the same line and it clears the gravel out. And then the entrance road kind of goes up a hill. So they run up the hill and back down. There's a slalom, a C-box coming down through that. And then kind of a banked corner coming into the main lot, which was pretty cool because you could just kind of pitch it in there and get on the gas early. So swooping out around the lot and back up the other access road towards their maintenance shops. So it's pretty good size.
Nice.
I mean, a lot of the courses we set up at Shelton we get down in the 50 seconds. I mean, we can also run a 60-second course. Yeah. 10 seconds at that speed's quite a bit. But I thought it was really good. Great place to run.
Do you think with the amount of usable land that's at Shelton, it's comparable to the same size?
It's real close.
Is it real close?
I think it's real close.
Wow.
Yeah. Just it's in a different configuration.
Yeah.
But it's real close.
I think the change of elevation, that's interesting.
Yeah, the change of elevation was cool, being able to run up a hill and back down and then kind of have a banked corner in it and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Cool. And it was good to compete with Tim, and Bert was right there too. Like his car broke Sunday, but then he was driving Tim's Corvette. It was fun. It was good competition. Yeah, nice. Really liked it. Met some new people, that we don't normally get to hang out with. Some of the the AOCC? What is that? Or the Central Oregon Club, whatever. One out of Bend. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Met some of those guys. They were out there running, and of course the Emerald group.
That's what's always nice about going to a new group is meeting new friends and new people. And seeing just a different environment.
Yep. It was good. Yeah. Yep. Had a good time. How about you guys? Anything good? Any driving?
No driving right now. Yeah. My car's back down, but
no.
It's okay. So my engine was an L99 LS3, so I came out of an auto car, and I drove it for like 2 weeks after I painted it, and then I had a lifter failure, which is pretty common for the stuff that had the DOD we're active fuel management. So right before I came over here, I got the heads off, and I'm putting a cam in it and just going all out now.
Just going to go for it.
Yep.
You going to have it done before the drift event out in Walla Walla?
That's the plan.
Good.
Yeah,
good,
it's all sitting on the garage floor, so
got her stripped down.
But yeah, it should work. It should be good to go. It's a ton more power too. So
nice.
Yeah.
So getting some upgrades along with it. Well, that's the thing about project cars. You break them, it's time to upgrade.
Right.
Yep.
I love that.
Why waste my time, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be in there anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might as well get it done.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shaun, the reason you're here, you've got a project car, and we're on a run of Camaros. You'll be the third Camaro guy in a row.
It's one of the best cars out there.
It's actually a really good platform.
Yeah.
What year is yours?
92. So
92.
last year, the white trash edition.
So last year, the Gen
white
3.
trash?
The Gen 3.
The white trash, the Gen 3.
Okay.
Gen 3. Honestly, Gen 4 is so close to the same thing. They're
so ugly.
I
They
think
kinda
the Gen
went-
4 is way uglier.
They went gaudy on the body panels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is kind of what
It was a cool concept.
They got
when
bigger.
when it came out.
they got longer.
They did. They got a
Yeah.
little bit
Were
longer.
they heavier?
I think they're heavier.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The Gen 3 or
When it-
Gen 4s?
Gen 4, yeah.
Yeah.
When it came out, it was a cool, it was a cool concept, right? Like something new.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as squared off, as more rounded.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 93.
Well, and that's kind
And
of...
now I look at it and I go, God, that's ugly.
Yeah, but you know what? They're coming into their own. They're
Well,
They're
a lot
popular.
Of a lot of things are coming in. 10 years ago, a third gen was not. I mean, there was a little bit of a following for them, and now
Yeah.
you look at them and they're.
yeah.
I remember when you can get
people
third
want 'em.
gens for like $800.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just unheard of nowadays.
Now you get one without a motor and without a tranny for $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
I traded
Yeah.
an '89 Ford F-250 that was just broken down farm truck for my very first IROC.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when did you buy the one you have now?
About 2 years ago,
Okay.
2 or 3 years ago.
You had one before that though, right?
I did. I
And
had
you
one
also
when I
had an
was younger.
Oldsmobile, is that right?
I had a '69 Le Mans that
Okay.
I was doing a GTO conversion on
Okay.
before that,
All right.
and I sold that.
Yep. Only room for one project at a time.
Yes,
This is a one project car guy.
Oh.
I know. He's a rare guy.
I have,
That's me too, guys.
Yeah.
I've always only
Just
had
the one.
one car.
Yeah.
Like, I just focus on it, and like that's what I'm doing.
You would be amazed at how many people have multiples. Like personally, I've got 3,
Right now,
4.
right
yeah,
now,
maybe 4
from
right
the
now.
statistics I see, 2 out of 4 guys have multiple projects.
Yes,
Well, no.
50%.
no, wait a second, because I have a wife that doesn't like to see cars out and about. I have young kids, so I'm involved with them. And a couple years ago, I sold my house that I had my shop in, and I don't have a new shop on my place yet, so I don't have anywhere to store.
You're in transition.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So it was.
I'm sure
we
if you
got
had-
rid of everything except for, and I had so much money wrapped up into the Camaro at that point that one made sense to keep.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure if you had the room, Sean, you'd probably have a couple more.
Oh, 100%.
You would.
Yeah, if I had my
Same
way,
with
I'd
me.
have a dozen
You'd have a
of them.
C10. You'd have a. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Didn't you offer me money for my C10? When
I did.
You did.
I did.
He's like, I'll give you 1,000 more than you paid for it right
Yes,
now.
I love the old C10s.
I do too.
man.
They're so cool. Actually, I probably shouldn't let the cat out of the bag, but whatever. I just bought another lift for my shop so I can have more floor space.
Perfect.
So I can get another car in there.
When I was a kid, that's what I initially learned how to drive on. When I was
C10?
young, just
Yeah.
driving around the property, go and haul the brush pile for dad or whatever down to the burn pile.
Yeah.
I learned how to drive on those.
Yeah,
And so
nice.
it kind of holds a special place in my heart.
You bet.
What style? Like a manual?
It was we had I think it was if I remember right, it was a 67 with a 3 on the tree.
Nice.
Oh, that's
good.
cool. Mine is a
So good.
67.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it was an automatic originally. It's going to be a manual.
yeah.
That's cool. So, your project a couple of years ago, but you have thrown all kinds of money at parts.
I have.
Tell us what you got
Oh, I don't know where to say. So I don't like to do anything.
at all. Oh, I mean,
Well, true. No, I don't like to do anything kind of half-assed. So when I'm into something, say I'm into whatever area that car is, I want to do it all. I want to open it up and complete it right from there. So I went on a parts ordering spree, and it went from one end of the car to the other, and now I've got a whole garage full of parts and engines and transmissions, and
it's amazing.
It's ready to go.
Absolutely
so
amazing.
Now my biggest enemy is time. I just need to find the time to tear it all down, put it all together.
You just got to start picking away at it.
What,
what I've been doing, going out to the shop every night, spending an hour or two, and just messing around.
Did you have an idea of like what the goal in mind was with the car before you started buying all the parts, or did you be like, I want it fast and?
Yes.
Let me butt in here for a minute.
Okay.
So he tells me about this car a couple of years ago when he buys it, and it's a runner. Okay, thing runs.
Okay,
it's actually in decent shape. I haven't seen it in person, seen pictures of it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come out to the autocross and drive it.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I want to do this and I want to do that. It's like, nah, come out to the autocross and drive it. Figure out what it'll do.
Yep.
Figure out what it won't do. Come out and drive it.
Yep.
You think he ever come out and drive? No. Not a chance. He's driven it around the block with his girls in the passenger seat.
In my defense,
I feel like you talked to me about this too, Shaun.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Shaun brought this up years ago, a couple years ago when you bought it.
Yeah.
And I just put the LS1 in my car, and you're like, dude, I want to put an LS in my car. And that's what I'm doing, and like I'm totally doing it. And so I feel like you're the type where like once you set your mind on it, it's happening.
Yeah. So I actually changed routes. I decided not to go LS.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, you do it, but it's still a runner. Come out and drive it while you're waiting.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Drive it, dude.
Anyway, go ahead.
In my defense, you know how my summers look like. We've got
I do.
We've got the boat, and every time you guys race,
the
family wants to be out on the boat.
on the lake.
Yeah. So it's that cross, and I've actually.
But now you're here. You're committed. You have to come out to the races.
I understand that. Yeah, I'll play this for my wife when we're done.
Okay.
Once it gets edited, I'm like, hey, Rob said we're committed.
You have to.
Yes.
It's a requirement.
Yeah.
Of course, Ian missed the last one. He said he was coming out too. Yeah. I watched for him both days. No show. Yeah. No show.
Yeah. It'll
working on the car.
Yeah.
It'll make it there, but I'm going to need an empty trailer to bring it home with because I'll probably break it.
I would just, I would just.
I got a trailer.
I would just come up and do a little spectate thing for a bit.
Yeah.
Come up for a day, get some rides.
Yeah, and I did. I talked to the wife about coming up and checking it out, and I tried to convince her, try and get her involved so that she, always makes it easier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And get her in, and hey, maybe you can go ride with these guys.
100%. Yeah, bring them out.
Yeah. Just gotta be careful which ones you ride with, because some people like to blast music when they're driving. Just gotta be prepared for that.
There's one.
I keep hearing about the music argument.
You don't, Grant?
Oh, of course I do.
I mean, he's the guy.
There's nothing better than like a fully prepped race car with a freaking awesome stereo.
Yes.
He's on He's on your side.
Come on.
It kind of gets you in the mood. I'm a music guy.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Okay.
So statistics say 3 out of 4 guys like listening to music in the car.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered. I will just keep my mouth shut. I
feel like if you're comfortable with the car, then blast the music.
I just love to hear the engine singing.
I get that too. I get that too, bro.
It's another voice in the chorus. That's how you gotta look at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the only voice I want in my chorus. Anyway, so you started stockpiling parts, getting ready for a build, in the midst of a move and all that stuff. You bought a bunch of suspension stuff, yeah?
Yes. So I went front to back. Everything's tubular. I've got tubular K-member, tubular Wonder bars. Front or inner and outer sway, or I'm not sway bars, subframe connectors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fully adjustable and tubular. Rear control arms, the uppers and lowers, the torque arm for the tranny, the cross member for the tranny, the panhard bar.
All of it.
Everything.
All the
That's
things.
crazy.
Anything you can replace, it's going tubular and it's fully adjustable.
Did you stick with one brand throughout your parts building, or did you just buy what seemed to be the best? Or
So I went with UMI for most of my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Heights, UMI doesn't offer. Well, for subframe connectors, I went with Spoon. Just because tubular seems to be stronger than boxed.
Yeah.
The kind of the industry standard is boxed, but if you look at it, tubular doesn't twist as bad as boxed.
Okay.
And Spoon doesn't offer inner subframe connectors, so I went with Heights on that. But pretty much for the most part, I stuck with UMI on most of it. I went with the Hooker Blackheart transmission crossmember on that, just because that's best fit and it's most universal with the torque arm.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind me asking, Shaun, what motor are you going with now if you're not going LS?
So I had a 406 Eliminator motor built out of Texas with Meeting Performance.
It's a small block still?
Small block.
Yeah.
Yep. It's stroker motor. It's 565 horse on the dyno.
Wow.
585 foot-pounds of torque. So it should get there.
Oh, yeah.
What
That's
kind of
gonna be
transmission is it going through?
I've got a T56 out of a 93 Camaro. So
Okay.
LT style T56 that's going in it. It's a 5-speed now, the T5.
Yeah.
They're garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with the T56.
Nice.
I'm actually getting ready to send it down to the training shop, have them all go all through the training, and get it set up to drop in.
Do you have specific gears you're going to put into it, or are you just keeping it stock?
That I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to I'm not a transmission guy at all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk to them, kind of tell them, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and let
Do you know
them
what
go
rear
for
end
it.
you have in?
I do.
What the gears are?
I have a place out of Georgia called Hawks Performance.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of third gen specific stuff.
Yeah.
They built me a 8.8 rear end and 8.8 Ford rear end that's meant to, it's all custom built to fit under the third gen.
Yeah.
I had them narrow it 1.5 inches, and I went with 373s and a
Nice.
Aussie in it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I set it up with the LS backing plate so I can go with the big brake setup on it.
Nice. So with a narrowed rear end, you can put the wider tires on it. You can fit more tire under the wheel well.
315 is the goal.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be real. Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, 315 is the goal.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll the fenders.
Yeah.
I bought a fender roller.
Get a little
so-
stretch on them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oof. That'll be good.
Yeah.
How much
gonna
can
look
you
great.
get in the front of that?
I'm going to shoot for 275s. I've heard of guys going as big as 295s in the front, depending on the offset
If you
of the
roll,
wheel.
if you get the right offset and you roll them, I bet you can get 295s.
Do what Jason did. He's got 335s in the front, right?
335s.
Yeah,
in the front.
I'm not going that far. I still want a car that, like, if I want to cruise it down to the beach on
Yeah.
the weekend or something, that,
Yeah.
that it's streetable.
You want a weekend
Yeah.
wear as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. That's
Yeah.
what Liger is.
Yeah.
You know.
Or maybe you want to
Move your
get
mic closer.
loose.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a ton of grip with 315.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's
just
one
because he
thing.
has 315s, if you got a second set of wheels and throw some 275s, 295s on the back, and
Yeah.
That's what I
it's
was
still have a comfortable ride.
Yeah.
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 Better for street. I mean, a little bit narrower is better for street. Don't grab all the ruts and that kind of stuff
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Bigger the tire. Like the Corvettes, mine's 335, 315.
Mhm.
And it grabs everything when you're driving on the road.
Yeah.
You get all the ruts.
Every
all the,
rut and
yeah.
starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it as. It's not as easy to drive if you're just cruising.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's when you turn up the volume just a little bit louder. So
That makes it steer better? Is that what that does?
Seriously.
Well, the car started out with. I'm building it. The idea for me is I'm building it to beat a Hellcat in the street.
okay. Light to light?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Without going too far into details,
Go
There
into
was-
the details. We don't mind.
I love it.
there's this douchebag that pissed me off.
Oh,
There you go.
deep into the details.
And he's one of those. I bought my car, I didn't build it,
Yeah.
and
I think I know who you're talking about.
I can one up that.
Yeah.
And and I grew up working on cars, and I was like, okay, cool. And that's where the project started. I just, the biggest thing in life is time and money. You got one or you
Yeah.
don't got the other, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Sometimes.
I guess right now I got the money to finance it, so I'm going to build a third gen Camaro that'll beat a Hellcat out on the street, or beat it out on the track in a
That'll be
quarter,
fun. Ooh,
you
that'd be
know,
fun.
And
Yeah,
let him rub his nose in it a little bit.
cool.
Sure.
So back to the suspension stuff. All your A-arms, your control arms and whatnot, are they all regular pressed in rubber bushing, or did you go poly, or...
Hem joints.
What's a hem joint?
Wow. Heim joints are basically a orbital all metal fitting with
Knuckle,
a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a knuckle. It's got a little bit of a nylon on the outside of it, generally, or grease.
Mm-hmm.
But they are.
It'd be stiff
It's
as
full.
all get out.
Yeah, you feel every single bit of
Interesting.
it.
Yeah, but you will have no steering lag whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And I most of it, if I had the option, I went hem joint. What I didn't have the option on, I went with poly.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing
That's going to be a vibrating car for the street.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The idea is the wife will like to ride in it. that being said, too, with the steering, I took out the factory steering shaft with the rag joint in it.
Yeah.
And went to an Astrovan steering shaft.
Oh, yeah.
It's solid.
It's got a U-joint in it.
Oh, it has a U-joint. Cool.
Yeah. So it takes out some of that the play in the steering. And then I went. It's an RS car, so the gearbox isn't as tight. So I went down to the IROC gearbox.
Oh, quicker steering.
Quicker steering on
Wow,
it.
Okay.
that's cool. Is that a steering pump on that? Is it belt drive or is it electric?
It's belt driven.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
How's the interior? Are you planning like gutting that or making it minimal or changing that out?
So my back seats are from an O2 SS.
Okay. Oh, they fit in there.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep, they're interchangeable. I got back seats for an O2 SS in there, so the black vinyl. Right now it's all cloth.
Okay.
It's factory interior.
Mhm.
I am going to keep it pretty tame. It's not going to be race car driven. I'm going to buy a couple of new seats from Scat, I believe it is.
Mhm.
They were the closest. They're more of a lumbar support wraparound seat.
Okay.
And the interior or the vinyl that's on there matches the seats that I have for
Nice.
the back. So
Are you going to put a roll bar in there or anything?
I thought about it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, with that much power, it helps stiffen it up.
Absolutely.
And then also the safety just in case, you know.
Yeah.
Because shit happens when you get to a certain horsepower.
I've thought about it. I don't know how far
does.
down the rabbit trail to go.
Yeah.
That's it. And then
You know?
I keep my car fully street. Like
Mhm.
a saying that me and my drift buddies say is keep it street. You know, if you have a cage in there and you've got the back seats, I mean, that's a full-fledged drift car at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas mine's like a street car. It still looks like a full interior, you know,
And that's what I'm going for. I want a street car that I can take out and I can drive on the weekends, have fun with it. But if I want to take it up to a track day, you know, go do some autocross with you guys, or if I want to run in a quarter mile, that's kind of where I grew up.
Hey, as long as you're not turning lower tens, you don't need a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, for me, like, it's nice, like, with a car that can be on the road, too, is because if you have a track car only, you're only going to have fun on certain weekends or seasons.
Exactly.
If it's a nice sunny day in the winter and it's 45, 50 degrees and the roads are nice, why not take it out?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah.
I like
Whatever.
that. I like that, dude.
Whatever.
I like that.
My car doesn't come out of the garage in those temperatures.
No, but your next project will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he takes my offer and sells it to me.
Yeah. What, yeah.
Price goes up every
Shaun,
day.
important question. So with that engine being built and stuff, and with it still being a street car, how about sound, exhaust? Are you planning on just open headers, make it as loud as possible? Or are you gonna have it so the neighbors will be like, okay, that's not too bad?
Oh no, I don't care about the neighbors.
No, okay, yeah,
Yeah, no, make them mad.
I love it.
okay,
I really don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Okay.
The third gens are really hard to put a dual exhaust in.
okay,
What, you know, in the past, what guys were doing is they were running like a single 3-inch into a single muffler and then 2 out. They're also really hard to run full-length headers on because they sit so low already
yeah,
that they drag.
yeah. Jason was telling us about that.
Yeah. What kind of the newer thing that guys are doing is there's a couple companies out there that are making exhausts for the LS swaps into the third gens, and they're customizing them to run with the small block Chevys.
Okay,
So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do yet.
They're putting a different flange on it or something, essentially?
No, they're running 2 pipes instead of running one single. Traditionally, a true duals runs out either side of the car or down the length of the car. Now they're running them side by side.
Oh, okay.
And then running them out the back.
So they fit it in the same
Exactly. And you can't really fit it up under the tunnel in there because your transmission, everything's packed in there so tight.
So I have a question for you, Shaun. What are you running EFI? Are you going to run carb? What's going on?
I've got the Holly Sniper set up for it.
Cool.
Yeah, so it'll be an EFI throttle body setup.
What made you go Gen 2 motor over Gen 3 or 4?
Comfortability.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I've never really messed with the LS. I'd like to get into it. I'd like to find a project to do an LS swap into.
C10.
Just to learn that side of it.
nah, smart car.
I know a guy that's got one.
I know a guy that can find another one.
But, yeah, comfortability. Cool. I grew up working on small block Chevys and Pontiac, W block or Y blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so just comfortability of it.
It wasn't without a little bit of shopping.
I did a lot of shopping.
A lot of
Rob
shopping.
will attest to that.
There was a lot of specs sent out to me. What do you think of this one?
Yeah.
Was there any engines that you were just like wrestling or be like losing sleep at this one or this one?
Yes.
What was the second runner-up?
It was an LS3 motor.
Okay.
Yeah, and me and Rob went back and forth on that one a lot, and Rob really pushed for me to go LS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the Camaros, there's some funky wiring in there.
Yeah.
So you got to replace everything at that point.
Yeah.
And I said, I think if I just put a small block Chevy in it, I can make it run. Would kind of work through some of that stuff, and wasn't dealing with the unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then too, I'm a do-it-yourself guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to tune those. It seems like a lot of things now are tuned on computers.
Yeah.
Whereas a small block, even with an EFI, the EFI is kind of self-learning on that Holly setup. But there's still a lot of things. If I get in there and something's a little bit off, I can tune it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'll be good. Yeah. It's going to be a fun project to watch.
Cool.
I know you've been working toward getting room to make it all happen. And how's that coming? You about there? You about ready to start turning wrenches?
The shed that is supposed to get all of my kids' stuff out of my garage and out of my way should be going up next week.
Okay.
So
I thought it was already up.
No,
That's what I thought too.
I have been building fence, tearing down old fence and putting up new fence.
Oh yeah, making room.
Yeah. And so I bought a shed for my kids where all their bikes and baseball or softball stuff and all their
Get
stuff
it out of the garage.
lives in my garage around all my car stuff and all my tools.
Yep. They can have their own space.
They can have their spot, and then I can have my spot.
So
back.
it's coming. It's close.
It's close.
Are you putting a lift in the garage? A mini?
I do not think so. I think I'm going to hold off. I've looked at the Max Jacks a lot.
Yep. I can attest to it. It's a great lift.
I have a set of those.
You got a Max
They're
Jack?
incredible.
You like them?
It's awesome.
I know Rob says he loves his.
Yep, it's awesome.
I've thought about doing the Max Jack, but
for
at
a
the same
standard
time,
size garage, it's a lifesaver.
You need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets you up over what?
4
Another
feet.
18 inches over standard giant jacks.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And
mine goes, max lift is like 4 feet.
Okay, mine's not. It's like 3.5, I think.
Yeah. It's, something like that.
But it's freaking works, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. And I kind of battle with, do I want to go that route, or I'm putting money away right now to put another shop up at my new place.
Oh,
There you
well,
go.
that's
So then it's like,
something.
do I want to spend the money
Game
there,
changer.
or do I want to...
Honestly, for the interim, it's not about, you can resell it for nearly full price.
Okay.
I mean, it would be like renting it at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So,
But there's a lot
because
you
the
can-
resale market on those things is really good.
Okay.
Yep.
But Drew, there's a lot you can do without a lift. I mean, look at me and what I do on a
Oh,
daily
you can.
basis.
But if you want to make it easy on your body and your life,
It's true.
get the car off the ground.
And then on a low car, it's like, or any car, it's like you get on a creeper and you're trying to take a transmission out. It's nearly impossible.
It's rough.
It's impossible.
Oh,
Like on just regular jack stands, like it's really hard.
I spent a couple weekends ago on a creeper replacing all the solenoids in my transmission in my truck, and I go, what am I doing here?
Yeah, rough.
You guys are using creepers?
Yeah.
You use cardboard.
Yeah.
Way lower profile.
And then after the fact,
It
Rob
is,
says,
honestly,
you could have come
sometimes.
use my lift.
Yeah, you didn't even call. I would have rearranged the shop for you to come on in. That's cool, though. So you kind of said, so it's mostly just going to be a cruiser driver, that kind of stuff. Maybe some track days.
Yeah, where
I'm going to have to do some serious arm twisting to get
You
you
will.
out to an
You probably
to a track day.
will, at least till the family gets over being out on the boat. But, yeah, I just kind of want an all-around fun car.
Yeah, no,
where
that's
I can
awesome.
do anything with it.
Yeah, project car.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Those kind of cars, all-around fun car, perfect for autocross.
Yeah.
It's your weekend warrior. Come out, run through some cones,
Yeah.
learn how to drive. Honestly, you're like, I know how to drive. Whatever.
Yeah, listen to you guys. I grew up driving in a different way. We drove in a straight line.
Yeah,
that's
we
not
have
this.
to turn.
Yeah.
We have to avoid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throttle out.
Yeah.
I think we forgot the one most important question.
How's that?
What color is it?
It's white.
White.
And it's
I love
going to
white.
stay white.
Nice.
Team white here, Sean.
Yeah.
Team white, team red, team black.
Team red.
Pretty much just, I like basic colors.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Yeah.
Red's a basic color.
Red's a very basic color.
Yeah.
I think so.
Black is what, the absence of color?
I love black.
It's so hard to keep
It's
clean.
so hard to take care of.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to take care of.
It's the hardest
It is-
to own, but best to look at when it's
When
nice.
it's good, yeah, I really like it. Like I had a black truck, F350, black Corvette. I mean, it's just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it
I
looked
wouldn't
good,
have
clean.
chosen it, but it was available. It was a good price. It was a great car, great build. Okay, it's black. I'm buying it. You
Yeah.
know, but whatever.
I mean, black looks great.
Yeah, it does.
You just
Just
gotta
keep it clean all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Clean and waxed
Yep.
all the time. It's rough. Anything else from Shaun's car? I'm sure we'll come back to it. What are you doing for wheels? You doing stock wheels?
Oh no, I don't. I'm not sure.
Something. Well,
yet.
if you're going 315s, you're going to have to do at least 12s.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you can
11s.
do 11s.
You can do 11s.
I'm doing 11s on mine with
Yeah.
13s, yeah.
And with a good offset, you can get a nice deep dish on the rear ones.
yeah. I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing for
Yeah.
those yet.
Something classic to the era.
I don't
Coke
know.
bottle?
I'm no.
No?
I'm thinking about going more kind of a new school look, like I don't really know what to call it, but like what they're putting, like you see them with on the new Camaros, where it's
Like the giant, not giant, the thin
Spinners?
spokes.
You're doing spinners?
spokes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing spinners. No,
You do the
no. It doesn't matter how much arm twisting you give me. I'm not doing that.
24 inch,
Yeah,
If
no,
it-
I'm not doing that.
gold plated.
If it's still going to be a street car, so you're not going to run any Hoosiers or anything like that?
No, if I think what I would do is I would have a second set of wheels, tires
Okay.
for track stuff.
Yeah.
Smart.
What kind of tires do you normally like running on the road?
Well, it's been a while since I've had a project car.
Okay.
So I used to run.
Dunlop GT qualifiers.
Well, I've never ran Dunlops.
Yeah.
Back in the day, what was it? The Cooper Cobras were a big one.
Okay,
when I was
yeah,
growing
yeah.
up.
Those are
Yeah.
good.
But
Yeah.
we
Great.
did a lot of straight line racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what I had on my last one. I think I had Toyo.
Triple R's.
They might have been.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like to run those.
Yeah.
On the street?
Yeah.
Triple R's on the street?
Yeah,
You get like 6 miles on them?
exactly.
Just about.
Yeah.
There was. Yeah, I did have a couple sets of Toyos that it seemed like every few months or a couple times a year I had to replace tires.
Yeah.
On my last
Yeah, that'd be
Camaro.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's always interesting because, like, with for Liger, for my street tires, a lot of people go by the Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss or 4Ss, whatever. And
Yep.
I actually did try those. I returned them within 24 hours
Yeah.
because they're great on light cars. What I found out is the way, because my car is so heavy, it would flex the walls and it'd be like the tires would stick and then the car would go after it. It'd be like a rubber band effect.
Yeah.
And even though that was great, the tires are sticking, it would really throw off the balance of the car in the corner.
Yeah.
And that's something people don't always think about.
Yeah.
You know, they look at numbers, see online, say what it goes, and sometimes it comes down to, even though it might be on paper the best thing ever, you know, in real world doesn't work. So for me, like, I went with BF Goodrich G-Forces for the road specifically because they're good in all weather, but they're really firm, and whatever happens input I put into it, the car reacts with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much experience you guys have with the Michelin Pilot Sports, but I'm personally not a super fan of the tire.
We've had them on the, we still have them on the
People
Ferraris.
talk them up pretty big. And
I don't-
I'm just like, I don't know.
I still don't get why they're banned from cam class. That throws me off because I don't think they're that great. And
I don't
to
either.
be
Are
a
they?
ban,
Well,
they're 180 wear.
Is it their? Is it the R compound with the Cup 2?
Yeah, the Cup 2.
Cup
Those
2
are banned.
That's
Great.
probably why.
They're
Yeah.
banned.
They're banned from cam class.
Now it could be a sizing. Is it a sizing issue?
Cam
Because
class is unlimited size.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
I don't
Sean,
know.
just a heads up, cam class is classic American muscle class.
Okay.
And so in that class specifically, whether it's a traditional class like the 60s or early 90s, whatever, or a sports class like a Viper, Corvette, or mine like a new modern muscle car, it is essentially unlimited body modifications, unlimited engine modifications, wheel modifications. It must still look like the car and still must have a full interior or resembling of an interior.
Okay.
And there's still this and that rules, but it's a category that makes so muscle cars. Because if you're going against a car with unlimited mods, you have essentially just an F1 car. But by still looking like the same car and having, and the big thing is the weight requirements, you get these still classic American muscle cars, no matter what era, that do what they do while still having the people able to throw whatever they want at them to make them look and perform the way they want to.
And so, does that involve full interior? Who's the judge on that? Is there class judges or?
SCCA is
Yeah.
typically the governing body of that.
Right. So that's the governing body. So it's up to the promoter
Yeah.
of said event if they're going to stick to SCCA rules for classing and that kind of stuff. And usually you have to take your car through tech, and that's when they'll look at it.
Sure. But I'm just saying, like, is it superhuman? Like, they choose it, they look at it, like, individually? Because you could put a ton of money into a car and make it look pretty stock.
So from the rules, if I remember correctly,
that's fine.
we should bring it.
Yeah,
we should bring it up to see. But for the SCCA, for cam class, it just says must resemble of an interior.
Right.
It must have some effort into it. It's very loosely on the wording.
Right.
It doesn't have to be exact because people want to put a roll bar in the back that wasn't there beforehand.
Right.
They can't do that. They still expect carpets there, or they don't.
You're okay with roll bars.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But they don't expect bare metal on the wall. You have to have some kind of interior paneling and stuff, and a dash of some kind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless
one of the stipulations that they do adhere to pretty closely is the tires.
Yeah,
You can't run slicks. You have to run a street tire.
It has to be still street tire.
And it has to be sizing that was available to the car.
Nope.
Doesn't it?
Nope.
I thought you had to be like, you can't take a car that didn't have an option for like 20s, and you can't.
You can run any size you want. That's why I'm running.
Okay. I thought you had to stick with the size.
It's the treadwear is limited to 200 treadwear. So the lower the number is the higher grip you have. A slick would be like a 40 or a 10. So 200 treadwear it's pretty grippy. To give you an idea, a modern, let's just say Yokohama street tire is like 700. So what's weird, what we were talking about earlier, is the Pilot Sports are rated at 180, which is below the 200, but we don't believe they still have the same grip or capabilities as some of the 200 treadwear tires.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, say something like the Mickey Thompson, the ET Streets. Would that be allowed out there on that?
Those would be, I'm trying to think, those would be still like slicks, wouldn't they?
I don't know what the treadwear is on it.
I'm
not familiar with it.
Yeah.
Let me look up real quick. I got my phone next to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Zippy on the Google. I don't know. I run the Yokohama
It's Mickey Thompson what?
AO52s for
Streets.
ET Streets.
cam class.
Okay.
And those are a really sticky. I mean, they're a 200 treadwear, but they feel stickier than that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They're a really good tire, but they do wear out pretty fast.
So Shaun, like these guys real fast?
Yes.
Okay.
So what is it?
So I'm looking at this thing.
It's nearly a slick.
It's more or less a street legal
It's nearly a
Yeah,
slick.
it's got like 2 lines around the tire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that would be legal. It's
I don't think it would be legal. Let me see.
treadwear. It's probably like 100.
No, I would put that probably at like a 50, if that.
Even that.
Yeah. I don't see any. Let me try this one other place real quick.
No worries.
Yeah.
So, while he's looking that up, let me ask you guys, where'd you learn to drive? Like, who taught you?
I got a funny story. Funny enough, when I was 15, my Uncle George had a Austin Healey Bug-Eye Sprite.
Okay.
And it was manual, and I really hadn't driven much before then, but that was the car I learned how to drive on. He kept it at my dad's house.
Yeah.
And I drove it as much as I could, and I found it to be this super fun, easy car to drive.
Yeah.
And I learned to drive manual on it, and it was awesome. He still has it.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, he still has it.
Super cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Is it 4-speed?
Yeah, 4-speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My old man had a Bug-Eye Sprite.
Any
Sorry to
idea
interrupt
what?
you.
No, that's okay. Any idea what year of?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mid-60s.
Oh, okay. 60s
Yeah, mid-60s,
car,
yeah.
Something. That's really cool. That's even cooler. He still has it.
He does still have it, yeah.
So
That's
that's
nice.
so. How old were you when you were learning to drive that?
I was 15.
Okay.
Early 15.
Yeah.
I didn't even have
Street
a permit
driving,
yet. Yeah,
parking
street
lot
driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it
awesome.
was his idea. He's like, yeah, let's drive it. I'm
Let's
like,
figure it
okay.
out. Yeah.
I've never driven, and he's like, no, it's easy.
Taught you how to.
And like, when somebody tells you, like, oh, that's going to be easy, man, just get in here and try it.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes the edge off,
Takes
you know?
the
Like,
pressure
yeah,
off
the
of-
pressure's gone.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I still think about it all the time.
That's super cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. That's really.
And then my first car, though, like that I actually drove, was a 85 Honda CRX.
Oh yeah.
It was an HF, so it wasn't the SI.
Yeah, not the hot rod, but,
but
still,
it was 5-speed. And
those are fun.
it was
cars.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Those little
Great car.
CRXs are pretty sweet.
I liked it.
What about you? Where'd you learn to drive?
Well, where did I learn to drive, or where did I learn to drive properly?
Original.
Run around property.
Yeah.
Dad saying, hey, jump on in, or back the trailer up, or haul the truck over here.
Yeah, your first experiences with
operating
the
exactly
machinery or the truck or the tractor.
Teach me how to back a trailer down or
that's valuable experience right there.
Absolutely. And it's lost. A lot of people don't do that anymore.
Very true.
Fact.
Yep.
And then I bought my first car when I was 14.
Yeah.
And started working on it.
What was it?
It was a 69 Pontiac Le Mans.
Okay.
I did a full GTO conversion. I'm a big GTO fan.
Sick.
Yeah.
But such a good car.
Le Mans, there's a big price difference between Le Mans and GTO.
Yeah, there is.
Car's the same, just a couple trim package differences and motor differences. So I bought the first car when I was 14. Started driving it, not so legally.
Yeah, well.
We lived out in the country, so I drive down
Statute of limitations is passed.
You can talk about it now. It's fine. I drive it down to the corner store, while Mom was at work, or tune on something and go take it out.
Feeling all like a hot rod driving around at 14.
Absolutely. I got pulled over the first time when I was 15 with no permit.
Oh.
Trying to outrun the cop.
Oh.
Thinking my car was faster than him.
Worse.
He let me go.
That's unreal.
He was very cool about it.
Until you go home?
Yep. Well, he caught me at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pulled into the driveway because you had nowhere else to go.
Yep.
Sorry, officer. I was playing Nintendo downstairs.
Well, so my registration was shot. I drove down to the corner mart. I was coming back. He was going one way. I was going the other. Mm-hmm. And he turned around and I punched on it.
Oh.
Well, I wasn't real smart back then, and I lived down an old gravel road.
Yeah.
So I put it in the shop and closed the door, and the gravel trail the dust from the gravel trail led me right to where I was going.
Right to the shop.
And he was cool about it. Let me go.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of learned how to drive in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah. So.
And you still have that car?
No, I sold that, unfortunately.
I thought you said you had that still.
I've had a couple Pontiacs.
Okay, cool.
I sold that one in my mid-20s.
Sick.
And it was all done. The last thing, it was full running car, went head to tail on it, and it was full running car. The last thing I needed to do was shoot the paint. And then some life stuff happened, and I ended up having to sell it.
Yeah.
So I sold it. I had an IROC at the time, too. I sold that right after the same
clean
time.
House. Kicking himself still.
I got rid of everything. I got rid of everything but my boat and my truck, because at that point in my life,
that's what you needed.
The boat being the Camaro, right?
It was a fourth gen.
No, it was a third gen.
I was choking about the boat. That's funny. How about you, Grant? What did you learn to drive? Probably a Ferrari.
So we're talking on the road, street legal? No?
Wherever.
Okay, so we're talking first thing drive was actually a Baco, 1985 John Deere Baco.
Okay.
So just working at the shop and running that, etc.
Yeah.
I
think that's valuable experience. That's kind of how I learned to actually drive too, was tractors and stuff at a really young age, like 7. I'm driving equipment around the farm. I don't know why my dad let me do that, but he's like, go ahead.
But
teach you how to drive a clutch and let you out in the field.
My driving experience was different though, like when it came to road driving though.
Yeah.
So that one, I was goody two shoes Grant, so I was not touching the car until I was 16 with a permit.
Oh goodness.
So I had what's it called? We had a driver instructor who came and taught me, and he was really surprised how quickly I picked it up, which was really good. It was I think a 2000 at the time 8 Mazda M3. I think that's what I learned to practice on.
Okay.
And we drove that for a while, and then at some point he felt comfortable enough where, because on the driver's car, when the teachers teach you, they have their own brake pedal on the other side to stop.
Right.
He got comfortable enough where he started letting me drive my Explorer, and he'd be riding on that one. And then there was a point where I wanted to learn how to drive manual, and he had the option of another car to do that with another pedal system, including that, a clutch and brake system in that. So he taught me after that, and after multiple lessons of that, they taught me, I think it was like the 3rd or 5th. And this is like really in depth with him, really teaching. Like I still a lot of his tricks I use to this day, and even use them for racing and stuff. He told the old man, I'm good to learn manual. He's like, perfect. So I learned after that, still 16 with the permit, was driving a 2004 Dodge Viper.
I knew it had to be.
Wow.
I knew it had to be something like that. Yeah.
That's perfect.
I think last time on here I said that's my favorite American car.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Who doesn't love a Dodge Viper?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let me tell you, especially growing up around that car, because most people, they'll see it in...
Was it a GTS or an RT10?
No, so this would be the SRT10. This would be the generation after that. So still with
it had the notchback, not the hatchback?
It had the convertible top and...
RT10, yeah.
SRT10.
Right.
Yeah.
The GTS is the one that's like the swooping back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was weird because growing up with that car, I knew if you give it full throttle or disrespect that car, it will put you in the ditch. It will kill you and not let go. So learning how to control horsepower that early on and know what it could do, set me up. And that's a car I would learn to go at my own pace, what felt comfortable going fast. And it wasn't until I had my Mustang where I started really learning how to go fast. And that was, again, lower horsepower and something that, not the old man, this is my responsibility. This is something
something new wasn't going to kill you.
Oh, no, Liger wanted to kill me.
Nah, I don't mean like that. But, you could get in the throttle and it wasn't going to respond poorly, right? Uncontrollably, let's put it that way.
I remember the one vivid time I had where I was, got my license, still 16.
Mm-hmm.
I took the Viper out, going through Lake Oswego. So leaving Westland, going Lake Oswego. And I decide, just thwomp the throttle once, straight away, see what it do, dead stop. Pushed it, and I only saw sky. It threw me back, I couldn't see the ground. And looked down, I'm like, okay, wow, that was quick. Okay. Drive 2 lights more. There's a cop in front of me, there's a cop behind me, and there's a cop in front of me. And I'm like, okay, I am glad I did that 5 seconds beforehand, because this could have been very bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But...
that's not a learning car.
No.
It's just not. Yeah.
No,
I had the same country type experience. I learned how to drive tractors and that kind of stuff. And then growing up, we had dune buggies, so I learned to control, drive fast, slide things,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I was right there on dirt bikes, 3-wheelers, all kinds of toys.
Exactly. Yeah,
just
I had dirt bikes before
vehicles were different.
Motorized stuff, right?
Yeah, motorized stuff.
Yeah. As far as the 4-wheel stuff, we had one of those Honda Odysseys, and I could take that out and just throw it, drive it sideways, get crazy with it, and it teaches you this massive amount of control.
It does.
Yeah.
And what power will do, and what a slide will do, and how you can steer into it and steer out of it, and all of that stuff. So I had a really good grasp. But funny enough, when I went to take my driver's exam, I failed it the first time.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, because you do something wrong, because I know how to control the car. That is not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But the rules of the road, I didn't exactly know that, right? So I turned left in front
the
of
blinker
oncoming
first
traffic
and all this stuff.
and all that stuff, and it's instant fail. I wasn't in any danger, but I should have yielded and didn't, right? So I failed. Mm-hmm. And it's those are the parts of the rules of the road that you're I've got control of the vehicle, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I don't know everything that's out there and how you're supposed to react to it. So
yeah,
it took me
and I think
2 times to pass that.
Took you 2 times. What about the rest of you guys? How long did it take you to pass your driver's license test?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Well, funny story. I passed my driver's test.
Yeah.
And my dad picked me up, and he had a Chevy Astro van.
Mm-hmm.
And he picked me up, and we drove out to Rob's dad's house in Montana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you drive?
I drove the whole way.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep. He wanted to go out and visit your dad.
8-hour drive,
and
10-hour drive, something like that.
So
that's hilarious.
He picked it up. He said, "Pack up your bag, and
we're going."
Road
trip.
I passed my test. That was my drive. I think it was either my driver's test or my permit test.
Okay.
But yeah, I drove all the way out to your old man's place in Montana.
Wow.
And then I remember when I turned 16, my mom told me, and I had my Pontiac at the time, and I'd spent 2 years turning wrenches on this thing, and my mom had told me, I will pay for your insurance until you get your first ticket.
That's
What a good quote.
That is great
Like-
right there. That's
like
awesome.
3 days after I got my driver's license, I started paying my own insurance.
Oh no,
Yeah,
that did not last.
it didn't last.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's really something.
I had a heavy right foot.
Rough.
Wow.
Yep.
Mm.
I'm glad that. Yeah,
My-
that's a good. It's kind of a good way to do it right there.
Yep.
My driving test was pretty much unmemorable. I think
Good.
I passed the first try.
Just like,
it
yeah,
all
no
worked.
big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of people teaching me. I have I have 5 siblings.
Oh
So
yeah, yes.
3 of them were older than me, and they're like, "Hey, this is what you do
Yeah,
if you want to pass and get your license."
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where did you take yours?
And it worked. Yeah.
What city did you take yours in? Is your thing not working?
No.
Probably that one.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I must have.
What'd you
bumped
say, Rob?
it. Where did you take your test?
I took it in Sherwood, Oregon.
Okay.
And I booked it. I had to like make an appointment because it was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And they were still doing parallel parking at the time. I know
Oh,
they're
really?
not doing that anymore.
Really?
That's what I heard.
I was just
That's
thinking
what I
about
hear. Is
that.
that
Do they
true?
still do parallel parking?
No, they
like
don't.
Yeah, I don't
They
remember
should.
doing that on mine.
They don't.
Yeah.
But
that?
they
They
were
don't
still
do
doing it.
Okay.
And I rolled in there. I was definitely nervous,
Yeah.
but I
mean,
made
you're
it
being
work.
judged.
That was
so
on my
yeah, you get
sister's
nervous.
Jetta. It was a 5-speed.
Okay.
My car was not working at the time, so I just freaking rolled in there and made it work. Got my license.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you take your test?
Mine I took in Clackamas, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't really too eventful. I know I got a 95. I missed one thing wrong, which is going up to a stop sign, stopping for a stop sign, and then just creeping over a little too far. And
Oh,
I even
yeah.
told the instructor, I think I'm over. He goes, yeah, you're over. So he even knew I was wrong, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but you remember your score.
He didn't-
Exactly.
yeah. See, I don't. I just know you failed. Oh, okay.
but yeah, it was not bad. Nice sunny day, nothing wrong, like crazy that happened that day. And that's probably like one of the best things to have is if it was memorable, it's going to be a lesson that you're going to remember and teach from you. If it's not, it means you're doing that good of a driving job and doing what the system is to teach you how to drive, right?
I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's what it's there for. I don't know. So we got an example of Grant's car that probably is not the right car for a beginning driver.
No.
Driving a Viper at 16.
I made a whole speech at school about that, and my teacher was not happy about it.
I'll bet.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
4 pages long, 5 pages long.
Oh, that's probably why they weren't happy. Here goes Grant again. Okay, everybody, yawn. Yeah, I don't know. That's a little much. There are definitely cars that are the right, quote unquote, right car for a kid to drive, and I don't think a Viper's it.
No.
I mean, like my kids, I put them in pretty underpowered cars for their first ones. Both of them wrecked them at some point or another. They, because you
Right.
kind of expect that.
Of course,
I did
I would.
expect them. I never did wreck my teenage car, thankfully. I
Me
went through
neither.
a couple of them, but that was just selling cars and getting something different. But yeah, I don't know. Volkswagens. Both my kids
They're
had
safe.
Volkswagens at one point.
They're very
and-
safe.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They're a decent car. You can still work on them and that kind of stuff. You can get cheap ones.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I'm not a huge fan of Volkswagen, especially working on them. I
Yeah,
think
you
they're
did.
a pain in
Yeah,
the-
you
okay,
totally
okay,
mentioned that.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick to that.
Yeah.
But I think a Toyota Camry, man, you just can't go wrong.
Sure. No, that's a good one.
I mean, it works.
is.
They're
They're
so
safe.
easy. They're safe. They're
well, the
easy to work on.
compacts, and
Yeah, any compact.
Hondas.
Yeah, like a Celica or whatever.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. My son at one point had a Pathfinder. That was a good one. Also got wrecked, but
I'm in a
he
whole nother,
survived, so that was good.
I'm in a whole nother
Oh, you're
camp.
at a different level,
Well,
for sure.
So for me, because I've discussed this multiple times with friends about like what would be a good beginning car for kids.
Yeah,
I think any SUV,
agreed.
like a medium to small one.
Yeah,
It's nice to have the protection around it. It's
Mhm.
nice to have the height, especially as a new driver, and the visibility.
yes,
I
I agree. with that,
Um,
very much so.
Yeah, you don't want to have, in my opinion, I think a pickup is nice to a certain extent, but they're so light in the back end, and depending on where you drive and how you do, and
If you
how
get one
nerve-
that's gutless, though, then
yeah,
That's
but that's
true.
the thing. Also, like I really think any kind of vehicle for a kid should have some kind of power, not slow as balls, because there's times you need to be able to maneuver over an area. You need to be
Get
like,
yourself out of a
Yeah.
situation.
yeah,
Yep.
but it shouldn't be.
agreed, but don't get in that situation.
It shouldn't be like a 60 horsepower bug, but it shouldn't be like a 400 horsepower Phaeton.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of like an F-150. A EcoBoost F-150. A 6-cylinder. They're not overpowered,
right?
But it's a good vehicle.
Yeah,
or even go with one of the older ones. It's got what were they?
The 4.0.
The 4.6.
That's what I grew up on. My truck was the Ford Explorer with the 4.0 V6.
Yeah, and
205 horses, great amount of power. Still had the pep. Still got was quiet. And
I had a Ranger with that motor. It was awesome. It's perfect.
Yeah, I actually had a smaller Ranger when I was in high school or whatever. That might have been a 3-liter, something like it was the 86.
Sure.
Yeah.
Older.
Like the 2.9.
Yeah, 2.9.
Yeah. I mean, anything like that's pretty good. But to be fair, I had a Camaro when I was in high school too at one point.
Yeah.
And definitely could have got myself in trouble with that.
Yeah.
I had a 5-liter.
But
86 Capri RS, like the Fox body.
Oh yeah.
And that was like my high school favorite car.
Okay. Yeah,
because it was a 5.0 and it was 5-speed. It was sweet.
I feel like
and it had power. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah,
I feel like nowadays though too. And I don't really like to bring this into it, but it's almost generational. Like when we grew up driving,
it is. Yeah,
we didn't have the distractions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's right.
So true.
Yep. And
we had other distractions though.
We had other distractions, but on top of that too, a lot of dads or moms or whoever the parents were at the times, a lot of times kids were driving before they were actually on the road driving.
Yeah.
And nowadays you see...
Yeah, that's true.
You see a lot of kids, they turn 15 and
that's the first time they've driven anything.
That's the first time they've gotten in between it. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. They sit behind a wheel, so the experience level is just not there. And then they've got the distraction of cell phones and music and
giant touchscreens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the infotainments are nuts.
We had the friend distraction too, but for some reason I don't feel like it was that big a deal as a teenager with a carload of friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you guys think that with more and more cars with the newer technology they're getting, the anti-collision and the lane assist and the self-driving modes is a good help or detriment to a newer driver? Because it's going to save them, but it's also taking away their ability to
think.
Think, react.
I think self-driving is bad.
Oh, come on.
It's bad.
It's an awful idea.
Anybody that puts their kid in a self-driving car, I think that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The lane assist and that kind of stuff and the collision avoidance could be a plus, but also is that making them rely on that stuff too much and pay less attention?
Yeah, exactly. It almost makes you complacent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can determine or you're using this technology to more or less drive for you.
Yeah.
As opposed to
not paying attention
and learning to look in your mirrors and check your mirrors or check your blind spots.
Yep. Right.
They'll see that little signal in their mirror that says it's clear to go.
Right.
I mean, I think it's like a lot of things. If you want to get good at something, you have to learn the fundamentals first. You start at the bottom and then you work yourself up. And technology is great.
But, I think maybe I'm off base here, but I blame the parents too. Because I think a lot of the parents actually rely on that stuff too heavily.
Absolutely.
And they don't know any better, so they're teaching their kids the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the majority of people that listen to this podcast, project car people, right? That's who's going to be interested in this. They've got a little more in touch with their cars, and they don't rely on those nannies to guide them down the road. They take a little more pride in actually doing it themselves and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's a big deal. I think that the parents really need to spend more time teaching their kids. And you're right about kids turning 15 and they want to get their permit, and some of them don't even care at this point. They're like, nah.
Well, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
It is another rabbit hole, isn't it?
It was, when I was young, it was 15, get your permit as soon as you can. When you turned 16, it was like the day after your birthday.
Couldn't wait.
Yeah. And nowadays, you see so many kids, they turn of age to drive, and they could care less.
There's people that I know that are like they're not, like friends I know personally, who wouldn't get their license until they're in their mid to late 20s.
They're
like, the bus is just good enough. I'm like,
that's always blown me away.
It was a ticket to freedom when I turned 16.
Yep.
That's it. That's how I felt. I'm like, this. I had money saved up, I've been waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
And I wanted it so badly because I found it a way to go
Freedom.
Do my thing. Yeah.
You don't have to
But
worry. Mom doesn't have to take you to the mall or whatever it is.
Skate park or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but I still, I hear kids say, oh, I don't have a license. I'm 18. What?
It's a shocker.
It's shocking to me.
It is. I started.
There's another side to that though, and it's financial.
Yeah.
Like
Big
kids
facts.
nowadays, there are affordable cars out there, but maybe their family doesn't have enough finances to be able to help them get it,
or space,
or
they don't want to risk it on an old car.
Yeah,
could be that too. But
people like us, right? Like we're willing to get an older car. Hey, we might have to fix it. Might have to work on it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think there is a financial aspect to that too. And you're like, I don't have to pay insurance. I don't have to pay gas. I don't have to worry about buying the vehicle.
Yeah,
where to put it.
Point, dude.
I can ride my bike. I can take the bus. They survive, and they're just not car people, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay too, really.
Yeah,
but, it's just another way of looking at it.
But there's also kids that are using their parents' car to do the test. For example, that one kid who failed his test because he was using a Tesla, and they failed him because he was only using one. He didn't use the brake. He would only use
let the car do it.
Yeah, he would only use the single pedal because they don't need to do it because of regenerative braking.
Yeah.
And again, that is one way to drive that car. I will say that specifically, but the test should be where you can be able to take any car, jump in and drive.
Exactly.
And it's also not just the parents, but also the kids of being like, okay, I need to learn how to have a variety of options. If there's two pedals, I should be using both. I should be using my signals. I should be using my blind spots. I should turn on that. Because if I need to hop in mom's Tesla and then say my buddy 2 years down the line is, in his GMC and he's too drunk to drive, I need to be able to jump in it and drive him home safely and say, I can't do this. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
I agree. Analog. You need to learn in an analog car.
Agreed. Yeah. Do you think the testing system needs to adapt? Do they need to change, or do they need to specify rules? Since we have cars that will do that for you, do they need to specify you need to bring a car with two pedals? You have to be proficient using the brakes, actually knowing how to do it, because I don't know, we've got these options out there, and if that's the only car the kid learned to drive, he's driving it the way he learned.
And true. I think my personal opinion, yes, I agree with Ian. We should go analog, right, for your test. But at the same time, then you get into that gray area of if all your family owns is a
Tesla.
one-pedal Tesla,
right?
Then what do you do?
Yeah. I agree. I think they need to figure that out. They got to either specify that that's okay, or you got to bring a car like this, whether you rent it or
we should
borrow
do some.
It or
sure.
We
whatever.
should do some research and find out if there is any laws being passed to change that.
Why are you looking at me when you say research?
I do research. We talk about this all the
time. Just throwing it out.
I'm looking straight. Look straight through the microphone.
I don't know if there's already laws in place like this, but it is such a good question because I haven't even thought about the regenerative braking in Teslas because there's so many Teslas out there, especially in this area. Gosh. Yeah. Right. Let's be honest. There's so many here.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hadn't even thought about that till it brought it up.
Here's a stupid question. Are people allowed to even use, for example, if they're doing, because on your test you have to do highway driving at some point, right?
Yeah.
They're allowed to use their autopilot during it?
I would think not, but I don't know.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to do highway? I didn't have to do highway.
I did. It's just one exit, hop in, hop off.
I didn't have to do it.
Mine was out in a rural area, so I think we got up to 50 because that was the speed limit at the time, and it wasn't highway merging or anything like that.
Huh. Yeah, I did mine at two different places, and neither one had highways.
Yeah, we had Highway 99 that actually turned into a main street where I grew up in, and Highway 20, and so I jumped on that for a minute, but I think it was 55.
Where was that?
Corvallis.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah.
Do you guys think so? In Europe, I believe it's still going on. There's two types of testing. You have your automatic, normal, standard everyday cars, and you test separately for manual cars. Do you think that should even be still a thing or not, or be an option that's given?
You do test separately? When did they start doing that?
I just remember hearing from podcasters that are in Japan that are from Europe talking about it.
I've heard that too, but I think the
Here
actual
or over there?
Over there.
The manual is the lesser one to get, right?
Yes.
You get that first. And then
Really?
if you want the auto, you have to like test up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But do you
These
think
days, I would think it would be the other way.
Well, here it would be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
A manual is
Totally.
really common over there.
yeah.
Very common.
But do you think that should be something that should be? Because there's people who like
Yeah.
think they could drive a manual. I have a friend who has a GT350, and that was his first manual car.
How long did that clutch last?
Well, there's a story about that one. But he would use, like, for example, on hills, he'd use the hill assist. The car would stop itself.
It had hill assist?
It stops, it grabs the gear and holds it for you, and it won't go until you push the pedal. As well as auto rev matching.
I didn't know the GT350 had hill
Yeah.
assist.
I'm sure of it.
And
most modern cars do.
Yeah, and that's two skills
Darn.
that's really handy on the manual, especially a modern one,
Yeah.
but super detrimental if you're in any other car. If you're on a 70s, 80s car, even a piece of equipment,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
out there, that's just, they're going to be dumbfounded, burn, or break the equipment.
Yeah. Well,
Or
you-
hit somebody.
You shouldn't be driving equipment if you don't know how to use it.
Well,
So-
they might say, I know how to drive a manual. And it's true, they do have to drive a manual, but not without their assists.
Well, yeah, the difference between shifting through gears and actually being able to drive it.
Yeah, that same friend, I put him in Liger, gave him the keys. Because we were talking, and we were at a parking lot. I'm like, yeah, let's go for a drive, dude. If you want to, here's the keys. He's like, well, I'm like, yeah, go take my Mustang. I'll drive it next to you. Let's go. I want you to get your opinion on it. We went through the Winco parking lot, and he stalled it 3 times. Shake the entire time because he was nervous about it, because he's like, that clutch is so heavy, that the short shifter is so short. And we drove it around and turned it back. Instead of going for the country roads, he drove back and said, I'm good, and was freaking out about that. And I was like, dude, if you plan on being a race car driver, if someone hands you keys to their $1 million hypercar, race car, whatever, you need to grab the keys to be able to drive efficiently, and
Yeah, I think hill assist and other things like that, it's a poison apple.
yeah.
It's like, my car has no frills. There's no anything. No power brakes, no ABS. It's just, you got to drive it.
Right.
And it could be the sword of you too, if you don't know how to drive it.
Yeah.
So I think hill assist and other things like that and these nice fancy cars it can be helpful. It can be nice day to day if it's your daily driver. But it's not something helpful if it's your performance vehicle. Personally, that's how I feel.
No, I agree with you. I don't know about if you want to be a performance driver, you're going to get past that.
Right.
You're going to figure it out. You're going to actually learn how to drive a stick proficiently, whether it's got hill assist or not. All of those things are built for people that are not very good at it, or they want it for a daily driver. I don't know why they're buying a stick if they but whatever. I don't know. Those are weird things. I've only driven one car that had that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Nice.
Especially driving downtown Seattle. It's freaking hilly down there. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird, almost a gimmick, but I get it. It's got a place.
The auto rev match is what I really like when driving a modern manual. I'm like, man, that is so smooth.
Yeah.
Puts you right there, and you don't have to worry about it, and you're not trying to, I don't know. I enjoy that. I enjoy that part of it, but hill assist can be if you hop into a car that doesn't have it, you could really.
Well, if you're expecting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, that guy behind me is not too happy right now.
Yeah.
Here's a question for all you guys, and also our listeners to think about, because I know there's multiple ways to do this. How do you guys start with a manual if you're on a hill? Would you get the car moving forward?
Man, it depends on how steep a hill it is.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So, for me, no matter what it is on that one, I will always find friction point to the point where the car holds itself, let off, and then gas.
Yeah.
But I know there's people who use their handbrakes for it. I know people who just dump it and just go.
That's generally what I do.
If I'm not used to the car, if it's a car I'm very familiar with, no problem. I use the little heel toe method.
Left foot brake.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Heel toe. So I got my left foot on the clutch.
Right.
I
That's
go
what I'm saying.
heel on the brake.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the toe on the gas.
Yeah. Left foot brake. Because you're using your left foot, right?
No, I'm using my right foot
Okay.
on the brake. Heel of my right foot and my toe on the gas.
It'll look like this.
Anyway.
Because left foot brake could be over here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, when I do that, I
do clutch with your toe on the brake?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
Just because I use that on track, too.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm used to being able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just do that and just let off the brake. second, I guess.
Very similar.
It's the same idea.
It is exactly the same idea. So I'll just do that. But if it's a car I'm not familiar with and it has a handbrake, I'll use it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where the clutch point is, right? I'm like, I don't want to over rev or burn the clutch up while I'm trying to get off this stupid hill. So I'll just pull a handbrake and do that.
I've never done that. I've never used a handbrake.
I'm kind of the same way. I always find that friction point and just hold.
Yep. Because I think it's because since I never was taught with that, especially like there can be a handbrake that's either down in the handwell, be up by the dash.
If it's not convenient, you just can't use it.
Yeah. And so like I just got used to just being able to go without it.
If it's a foot brake, you're
fucked.
not doing that.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
Then I'll just heel toe it.
Exactly. You have to.
Go for it. We kind of went down two different paths there, but I wanted to bring up, since Grant's daily first driver was a Viper.
It wasn't my first daily. It was
What car is just ridiculous? What cars are ridiculous? Because there's a lot of like high dollar kids out there, right?
Oh yeah.
Parents
just
are
here's
just
the BMW keys.
Here's the Range Rover. Here's your first car, brand new.
I think any Trackhawk, Hellcat, Red Eye, anything I see younger people driving, I'm like, this is insane.
Kids.
Yeah, kids.
You know they're blatantly in high school.
You see them.
And you're like...
I've seen it.
Too much power.
Way too much power.
Way too much car. Too much power.
Even with the black key or whatever.
Yeah.
The one that's like 505 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's a ton of power for a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell mom and dad, hey, I want to drive it.
I'm taking the Viper today.
I will tell you that, though. I am kind of guilty of it because my 12-year-old, I'm already looking for third gen for her.
Nice.
Yeah,
and it's
you
probably
could put the small motor in it. You get the 186 horsepower.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I can't leave well enough alone on stuff like that. But,
you have to wait till she graduates high school to put the big motor in.
Yeah, but even if you did...
That's her senior project. She has to build a motor.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
Even if you did, a 350 IROC, it's not going to kill them. I mean, it's still...
Yeah, even
it's got power.
Well, I think a stock 350 is what, like 230 horse or something?
Yeah, 250.
Yeah, they weren't fast.
But like an SRT 300C is like 480 horsepower.
Yep.
I mean, that'll kill a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I see them driving it. I see them driving them.
They can kill themselves in a Volkswagen, but...
That's true.
Yeah.
If you want to.
But there's just some cars you just look at them and you're like, no, what are you doing? No. Yeah. And then they wreck them, the new BMWs. And then mommy, daddy buy them another one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm just jealous.
I can go way down the rabbit trail.
That's it. I'm just jealous.
I'm looking at this in so many different levels.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways you can interpret this and take this down.
Yeah.
I think from horsepower standard, I think there's a limit that kids should have.
Yeah.
I realistically think
horsepower ratings on their license.
So they do that in Australia.
I mean,
really?
Yeah, they do.
Ooh.
I don't
like a
know.
red license, they call it. And maybe our Australian listeners can pipe in on this. But yes, there's like a red license, they call it, and a P license, which is like a provision.
Oh.
And you can't have a certain amount of power over.
I like that idea. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off, Grant.
The only reason I don't know how I feel about that is because we're getting more and more hybrid and more electric car. You can get a Tesla with 800 horsepower, and yet it still can drive like a daily mom dad car.
Yeah, you're correct.
And that's where I'm like, if this was 10 years ago, 100% I'd agree with that. And now I think I would say the same thing if you can clarify what kind of motor's in it. If it's a non-hybrid, non-electric car, yes, that would be great to limit what kind of power you have.
I think you can. I think there's a fix for that because that entire car is a computer.
Yeah.
So you have
the valet option.
You have teen mode.
Yeah.
Certain key.
Exactly. Or a certain key.
That's what they do.
It limits it to X number, whatever they choose, 200 horsepower,
like
right?
Like with the Hellcats, that's what they do. You have the valet key, the normal key, and the red one.
I understand that. So same thing with the Tesla.
Yeah.
And so if the kid gets pulled over, he has to prove that, hey, this is, and it says right on the dash, teen mode or whatever.
But I think,
a good idea.
I think more important than that, in terms of horsepower, I think a really bad car that goes with the horsepower, anything supercar.
Agreed.
Like the Viper, for example, I was a very rare case, and that was not.
I'm giving
I know.
Yeah.
But like, how many kids would be given the keys to that and be like, "We're going out for a tear"?
Not very many.
No. I've heard of kids having like Corvettes as their first car at 16 and just, like brand new when they're at time and just wrecking them. Yeah. I remember hearing, actually my driver instructor told me, so Liger and we'll go on another episode of this, but just short, she was a graduation gift to me, which I was very appreciative at the time for that. And my driver instructor, he's like, you are going to treat this car and love this car. Because he's like, the way I can tell is 2 weeks ago, I know someone else who was instructing who was also given a Mustang, and they couldn't care. They thought it was the worst thing. They said, it's a car, point A, B, and just treat it like it. And that, even though not being super high horsepower, was something I knew, 300 horsepower at the time is a decent amount, even for a kid.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good amount.
And having, compared to another kid who would not respect that. I'm like, that car's going to end up in the tree or pole somewhere.
Yeah.
But the other big thing is having a supercar specifically as your first car. Because there's kids who have Lambos and Ferraris and like the SLS Mercedes.
Me away.
And the problem is they're either going to drive them so slow and just be the flashy until they're raced or until they're challenged. And they're going to have no idea how to drive those cars.
Oh, yeah, they're going to want to prove themselves.
Exactly.
Somebody's going to challenge them, like you said.
Protect the ego.
And then it's going to be wrapped around a tree.
Yeah. And it's not only going to be, themselves in danger, the passenger or everyone else, but it's going to affect them the rest of their life.
Yeah, yeah.
And if it's not, then that's not a lesson worth changing, being like, oh, yeah, here's a gift for you. Let's just buy you another one.
No.
So that's one way to look at it. The second one that goes in with the option I was looking at this is the monetary value, which goes along with supercars.
Right.
No point in giving someone like a G Series Mercedes because they're going to be like, it's my first car. They're going to have a type of level of like, this is what I'm wanting. I mean, the Kia now, expectation of every car they drive after this.
Right.
And not only that, they're like we were talking about earlier, those more expensive cars have a lot of features. You get like an S-Class Mercedes, a BMW M Series.
Yeah.
Why is the car not as power? My other car never did this. This, and it doesn't teach them to drive. It doesn't teach them to be able to adapt or appreciate. And with those cars, when they break, they're not going to. You send them to dealer to get fixed. No one's ever going to take a wrench to them because you have a little more that fails. You have a circuit that goes out. The app fails.
So what you're saying is every kid should have a shit box first?
Yes.
I don't think...
I agree.
Square body Volvo.
I don't...
Come on, man.
Oh, Sherman tank.
Who wouldn't?
Yes. Yeah. They're safe.
I mean, they're safe. There's no like bells and whistles.
Yeah. Learn the fundamentals first.
That goes to my third one I was going to say. I don't think everyone should have a shit box.
Okay.
Because I think you should, as a first driver, have something that is reliable and is comfortable and is safe. And
I agree fully on the safety.
Yeah.
And I'm going to interrupt just a second. I really struggled buying my kids cars that were small. Volkswagen. Like my son wanted a Volkswagen Golf.
Yeah. And
eventually we got him one. But I felt conflicted. They're a good kid car. They're a good starter car. But it's small. And I'm like, man, if you ever get in a wreck in this thing, it's over.
It's a can.
Right? They're tiny.
Or like a smart car.
And that scared me, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something to consider.
Yeah, it's
the safety point aspect of it.
I agree.
And a shitbox isn't a bad car to have because 98% of kids wreck their first car.
Yes.
So
or don't take care of it.
Or don't take care of it.
Yeah.
Don't appreciate it.
Right.
It's going to make them appreciate future vehicles.
Right.
When they get a nicer one, they're going to want to take care of it and that kind of stuff. But, especially for a son and sometimes a daughter, they want to learn how to work on their cars as they go. And that's a good learning tool, that kind of stuff. But
we have
there's a lot of theories on that.
Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say side tangent. Like my one of the people who works our front desk at our office.
Yeah.
She's a car girl, very young. She's like 22, and she got into it because her family knew nothing about cars at all. So when it broke, her first car, her family car, they didn't know how to do it. She had to learn to wrench on that without her parents' help. Just if she had friends that could help her.
Yeah.
Because
she was interested enough to do it.
She was interested enough to do it because she also didn't want to pay the money for a mechanic. She's like, I should be able to do this.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
like that.
That's perseverance.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a valuable skill.
Yeah.
Of course,
look at how many people
Life
nowadays. It is. It's even look at the simple stuff nowadays. How many people don't change their own oil?
Mm-mm.
Well, and
20 years ago,
everybody did.
Everybody did.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I hear from a lot of enthusiasts that I meet, whether it be at car shows, meets, drift events. I learned how to work on cars out of the necessity to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I had to fix my car, and now I enjoyed it. And now I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. I think it's different than how it was 60 years ago.
Do you think oh man, we're getting down a rabbit hole. But do you think that the way everybody lives now, tighter neighborhoods, less property, less room to work on cars or your own shit, there's, I don't know what the percentage is, but most houses have only a 2-car garage.
If that.
If
that.
If that. And a lot of that is used as storage. Can't blame you. We got a lot of shit as Americans. Okay, so there's no room to work on your cars. Do you think that we've kind of lost touch with that necessity?
I do. And this is my opinion, boys, but I believe that we've come into a time where things are more temporary.
Yeah.
And if something breaks, we can replace it quickly, and we'll just
trade it off.
We'll go into more debt or whatever it may be, because we all have to get to work. So there's not necessarily a bad thing about like investing into more debt for transportation, but I just find it like it's changed so much because most people, instead of fixing, will buy new. Exactly.
Can you crack one of those open for me?
There's a lot of that instant gratification with that as well.
That's true.
Oh, for sure.
I'll just go down and buy it. Put it on credit.
Yeah, this one's worn out. I want a new one.
Well, and it looks better.
Upgrade, nicer, newer.
Upgrade, right?
I mean, everybody likes a newer car.
Oh yeah,
that's a great feeling.
It is.
It's super nice.
Yeah, it's great.
But I get it too. Oh, that look on your face, Grant.
I had a very passionate thought process, and I'm trying to remember where it was going.
Okay. We'll wait.
Yeah. Can you re-ask the question, because I might spark and hit it?
Okay. So I was talking about how we live now with the single car garage or maybe a 2-car garage, and everybody's crammed into tighter spaces. We live in tighter neighborhoods, a lot more apartment living.
I remember what I was going to say. It's because we talked about it's detrimental to people working on the cars, and like people should be. And one of the things is, I was thinking about this literally today, is less and less, like, for example, we don't have shop anymore. That's not a basic necessity.
That's true.
School, auto shop, nothing.
Realistically, if you're learning and there's no one around, like you don't have someone that works at a shop or someone that has the garage space working, it's going to be on YouTube. And
that's true.
And the other big thing is, like we were talking about, replacing cars. Well, the other big reason that is because how many manufacturers that now will give you specs on how to repair their stuff?
Not very many.
Exactly. You can't even go to an auto store anymore and buy any modern repair manuals.
No, there is no such thing.
So we're going to get to a point where if you are working on a car, it's an older car. How expensive is that going to get? Is that something that if the family's reduced to one car, is that something that is going to be able to be worked on? If not,
probably not.
And that's what's really sad to think about.
Well, you've hit on that. Like, we've gotten into an age, say, in the last, 2000 even. 20-year-old car has still got an awful lot of electronics in it that we don't know how to work on.
Yep.
And that's a bummer.
Yeah.
You can replace mechanical parts, bearings, this, that, and the other. If you persevere, if you really work on it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can.
But when you start having electrical problems, holy shit.
But that's another thing is with mechanical. How often would you need an elder to teach you? Listen for that tick. Do you hear that? Teach you what it sounds like, what it's doing.
That doesn't even happen anymore.
It doesn't happen anymore, and so now you're losing that.
Yeah.
I mean, electronics. You can kind of teach into it because at least everyone's got a computer. But that's the other thing is trying to figure out what each of these graphs mean, what each thing does, how it does on every car. Yeah. And that's if you have a software or even a computer that allows you to.
And not only that, but what if you're having mechanical, electrical issues like wiring error? Like if you don't know how to wring out a wire, you're going to be in a tough spot. You don't have a clue.
Oh, for sure.
So there is something to be said about that.
The new car stuff, working on it is kind of nightmarish.
It is.
Yeah.
And then manufacturers like BMW, they've been doing this for 20 years already. Specialty tools. You need special tools to just work on the thing. You can't even attempt to take, a downpipe off without dropping the subframe.
Yeah.
Right. That's crazy.
A lot of people don't want to get that far involved in something.
God, no.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them at all. Like newer cars, I don't want to
I think Shaun, I think you hit it earlier. Like people aren't doing even oil changes. There's some companies that make it impossible even to do that. You have some dealership and they suck the oil out of the dipstick tube and there's no drain plug.
Yeah. Oh, that's so dumb.
That's
frustrating.
I think realistically, if there was one way to fix it and use a voice to actually fix it, is get auto manufacturers involved. Get back into schooling of some kind and give some of the trade secrets. Say this is some basic things to go.
It would be nice if they started teaching that
Yeah.
more, how to work on the newer stuff if you can. I don't know how much you really can.
But I mean, even
somebody's teaching
basics, how to change your oil, how to change an air filter, how to, I don't know, do whatever.
Yeah.
They don't even have grease zerks anymore.
No, they don't.
So
even bring it back into the schools.
Salt seal.
At a younger age. I mean, I know.
So I wanted to put that out there. We've got a lot of listeners, Midwest and that kind of stuff. Do you still have auto shop in your schools out there? I want to know.
I will shout out to a killer school locally.
Yeah.
Willamina High School.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a middle school and high school.
Yeah.
They have an insane shop program.
Really?
Yeah. In
That's
fact,
cool.
Is that the one in Clackamas?
No, it's out in Willamina. It's
out towards the coast.
Yeah, out towards the coast.
Headed towards the coast.
They have an insane shop. They have full-time car restoration all the time. They're killing it.
Oh, that is so cool.
And so big shout out to them. I've checked out the property. I went out with a couple of people from our career, and it was shockingly good, man.
Yeah.
I was like, this really restores my whole outlook on this kind of. And there was kids there, and they're teaching other stuff like coding and like how to look into ECU and tuning. They were doing crazy stuff.
Wow, I love that.
It'd be really cool to get one of those teachers on the show. I'd love to hear other modern teachers with that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I know when I went through shop class, the shop at my high school, it was funded by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people would donate cars or whatever the case is, and the shop kids, we all had our projects in there, but we would fix the cars that were donated, and then we would turn around and sell them, and that would keep the shop going.
Fun program. I know for a while when
I had that in my high school too.
Did you?
And it was actually really cool because I when I got out of high school, I didn't know what I want to do, and I had a couple of years I floated around before I joined the military, and so I went to college to be a mechanic. And I had the opportunity for one of my college courses to go back and teach my high school shop class.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, it was really rewarding. But yeah, we were funded by ourselves.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So guys would put in time above and beyond their project or just their hour-and-a-half class session or whatever it is. They would spend their breaks in there or whatever, and we'd push out a project and sell it, and the shop would keep going. And it's long since gone away.
I know.
It has.
Almost all
I know
of them.
that type of program started as funding was being pulled back
from the big three.
From
right?
No. From individual schools would do that type of program in order to keep it going for the students. They were finding ways to self-fund the shop programs and stuff because they were losing funding right through the schools. So they were saying, hey, if you want this to continue, we got to figure out another way. And I know in the area that I grew up, they started taking donations from the community and that kind of stuff,
cool.
donating cars or I think for a while they were like, okay, we can offer this program, but it comes with a fee. You have to pay like $150 or whatever it was in order to help fund materials that they needed.
I hate to say it, but I also imagine there was probably a huge lack of interest over the last 20 years.
Yeah, probably.
And that's sad to say because I wish it wasn't the case, but maybe that that's something.
So that's kind of why I want to put it out to the listener. Like if you're in an area that still offers those things, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So just something.
Mm-hmm.
So let's switch gears a little bit. Grant and I were kind of brainstorming stuff we could talk about cars and this and that and things that would be beneficial to project car people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about a good deep clean on your car? Do you have somebody else do it, or do you do it? Wash, wax? Do you hire out a detail? And then that kind of rolls into storing your car for the winter. Mine store for the winter. I do not drive them in the wintertime. So, it comes around October, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's going to get put on the rack and it's going to wait for me to get it back out in March.
My car, I love doing exterior detail.
Yeah.
And when it comes to interior, I hate it.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience for it. So I always hire out my interior detail.
Okay.
But I love polishing, waxing on my exterior. As far as storage goes in the winter, I always have it covered.
Yeah.
I don't really drive my car unless it's a beautiful weekend or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the cover off and spray it off and drive it. But if it's wintertime, I don't drive my car.
Okay. So when you do your exterior polishes and that kind of stuff, do you have certain products that you really like? Because most car guys have tried a bunch of different stuff.
They've got their brand that they're loyal to.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
we're not advertising
I love most
here,
Carnauba wax.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
I find the best.
It's
It's old school.
Yeah,
and it works.
The thickest, and it really puts on a nice polish.
And when I let it sit for like 15 minutes before I wipe it, it just seems to hold longer, and it just runs the water right off of it for like weeks.
Yeah.
As opposed to this new stuff, they're like, "Oh, this is like
on,
hyperbolic or whatever." Yeah, you spray it on. They're like, "Oh, it's a cleaner and a wax." It doesn't work that long. I mean, it works for like a second,
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like old school stuff.
Right.
So I'm kind of old school on my stuff.
The deep wax, I agree. It's very labor intensive.
Oh, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
and it's
the
dirty.
shine you get out of it,
it's dirty though.
Yeah,
it's dirty too.
And in between it though, I do the same thing. I think the Carnauba or the deep wax, but in between, like when we wash, like if we wash once a week or every other week, I do the spray wax in between.
Yeah.
Just to add to it.
Oh, I have some. I have some too, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Yeah.
I have some.
The intermediate polish.
Yeah.
A quick wipe down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
don't go too deep, man. You are. I love you, man. But geez, Louise.
I know. I'll go short deep.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, because there's two thought processes that I've got. Because I grew up, my dad with the sports cars, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
And growing up, being part of the chores would be cleaning the cars, deep cleaning them. They always have to look brand new, immaculate. I mean, when it would come to we take them to shows, we'd take Q-tips down to them. It would be that level of detail.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's always like, to his credit, I mean, coming back home and look at him, always fantastic. You got collection that just is immaculate. For me,
for that collection, I get it though. I mean, we're talking about Ferraris,
but he's like that on his normal cars too. Well, I wouldn't. His daily's not like that detailed, but he'll still. It very looks nice.
Yeah.
For me, I like having a nice, clean car, but I can't keep it the level of detail he has. And it's
busy.
Not only that, but like what I've seen what a professional detailer can do just trumps my years of going through. When they're every day working on a car, and you spend $200 and have a shine of a car that's like 100,000, 200,000, and it looks like it came off the showroom floor.
Yeah,
some of these guys can make it just insane, and it's when it's at that level, then I'll try to maintain what I can at that.
Sure.
And if it gets dirty, send it through a car wash, vacuum it up, and that's for that. But like, for example, my old man, he enjoys the time he can spend washing and waxing.
So he does it himself.
He does it himself.
Okay.
And or with me helping him.
Sure.
But for me, like, I don't get that enjoyment anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it also because if it's the same car every day, when something new, like when you got a new car, it'd be something special, learning all the curves, every little nook and cranny about it,
Yeah.
But, and then we talked about storage.
Yes.
Storage, that's one that's interesting because, like, when race season ends, like, for example, Liger, no matter where my car is, I try to keep them inside. I don't like leaving them out in the weather. Yeah. I don't like the possibility of moisture getting up and then fighting whatever, and doing whatever I can to keep mice, rodents, whatever out. Mm-hmm. I had one year where, I had a potential of I thought there was a rodent in the car, and within a month, I had learned that, or I had stripped the car all the way down to the firewall on front and rear, half the inch take apart to make sure. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, no mouse.
Okay.
Now I got to put this back together. Race season's in 2 months.
Sure. Yeah.
And that was actually a good practice for me because I was able to learn that and how to do that and get down like within an hour. The whole car stripped and put back together.
Yeah.
So, in terms of storage though, why inside just for that, but also I want to leave them at the point where I still can drive them if need be.
Yeah.
If they're a street car.
Yeah,
now, if it's a race car, all fuel comes out. I think get them ready where they are put away for the winter. Have oil in them and a very minimal amount of fuel where you can add, so you can just start up, let the oil run, let the seals kind of swell up and do stuff, hit the brakes, but don't have enough where if they sit for months and months and nothing in them, as we've had some of the cars in the collection, they just drip, they leak.
Yeah.
We learned the hard way is like, even if it's middle of winter, fire them up.
Yeah, they have to exercise.
They gotta have that stuff circulating.
Yeah, for sure. Ian, I was going to ask you, you said you put a car cover on yours. Does your car go in the garage? Or
it doesn't.
It
stays outside,
Yeah, it's rough. What kind of car cover do you use?
It's called like a sealskin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
It's waterproof.
Yep.
And it breathes too.
Mm-hmm.
Amazingly how.
Works,
I don't know how that works, but it's I've had really good luck with it.
Yeah, so it doesn't collect moisture underneath it.
No.
That's good.
Of course, this is my first this winter coming up will be the first one with my paint job, so I don't know how it's going to work. Yeah. But the material underneath is like super soft. I haven't noticed any scratches on it. I've used it a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do keep it outside just because I want to keep my small garage space open. For other stuff.
Other stuff.
Yeah, I mean
that's the tough part is we talk about having a single car or a double car garage.
Right.
Anybody knows guys that work on cars, they're working on something, and there's tools and
projects.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just cars. I mean,
if you've got a 1 or even a 2 car garage and you've got a project going, that's going to take all that space.
Oh no, exactly.
So any other cars you have are going to sit outside or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been through that too. Where do you keep yours, Shaun?
The Camaro stays in the garage.
Good.
I have one bay in my garage.
The wife's car is outside, and she's mad about it.
The wife, and I just bought the wife a brand new SUV.
Yeah. So it can sit outside.
It stays outside. My hope is that, and she's knows who she married, so she knows.
This is what it is.
Yeah. But the hope is that I can get the backing to go ahead and put the shop up, and when the shop's up, hey, you can have the garage.
Oh, there's incentive.
Yeah, you can totally have the garage.
There.
It won't happen. I've got too much crap.
Oh, don't tell her.
But I might give her the bay where the Camaro is.
Yeah. I mean, if you can move into the shop.
Yeah. But yeah, the Camaro stays inside. My truck stays outside. Her car stays outside.
Yeah. The dailies for me stay outside because
there we go.
They're dailies.
Yeah,
I drive them every day.
Yeah.
I would love to have someplace I could park them inside, but that's just not practical. I've got too many project cars, and they take up all the inside space.
Well, and with my wife's daily, I would love to be able to put it inside. We bought her a nice rig, and there's actually a lot of work that I want to do to hit above and beyond because I can't leave stuff alone.
Yeah,
and I'd love it for it to be a car that she can pull into the garage. It's out of the weather.
Yeah.
Stays nice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So then why not carports? They sell them at Costco at Harbor Freight. There's, they get decent size. Well, like in your driveway, right? You have one?
I do have a driveway.
Then put it right over the driveway. Like, is that a possibility?
Wind is an issue with those.
Yeah.
I've heard from friends. Yeah. Especially some
of
my close
friends.
The big
metal heavy ones, maybe.
Well, and like I have a 30-foot carport on the side of my house, but my boat stays under it.
Okay.
So that's
priorities, right, dude?
Yeah, you spend that much money on something you want to recover.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If wind's an issue, because most of them come with metal poles in the ground. What about just making a couple foot holes and then just putting concrete down and
Well, I used to have one, and I think it was a 20-foot or 22-foot long one.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I took 4x6 and made a frame for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then drove concrete stakes into the ground through the wood.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen guys
and then just came down and lag bolted to it. And plus then you gain another 5.5 inches on height and
yeah.
I mean,
true.
It's definitely an option. You have to pay attention to HOAs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Depends on where you live.
My house is older. It's like a late 50s house.
Yeah.
So I have a small single car. It's just one spot right out in front of it. Like I can't. Everything else is street
parking. You don't have that extra space.
So I can't even put up a car. I mean, I could, but it's kind of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like I said, mine
depends on the layout.
I keep mine in the garage.
We should keep the ghost car under a carport.
It's under a tarp. A bright blue tarp.
Maybe we should upgrade to a seal cover.
Maybe a seal skin.
Yeah, seal skin.
It has no side windows. So.
That would do you some favors.
It also has no interior, so
I guess you're right.
Did you ever track down the interior?
No, not yet.
Do you hit that with wax too, Rob?
Spray
rolls
gun,
right off.
Just a spray gun, Should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the when I was living in a house, we had a neighborhood house, 3-car garage, which everybody's like, oh yeah, I want the 3-car garage, which is great.
Yeah.
But you still fill it with shit, right?
Oh yeah.
So like that one bay has all the tools and the benches and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other two, well, if you put one car in the middle, you can actually get around it to work on.
That's true.
So
I've
my other car. Hang on.
So
Give me a second.
Yeah. Oh.
So we also had a car trailer. So with multiple cars, one of the cars would stay in the car trailer. We just park it alongside the house. It's in there. It's dry. It's fine. And then the car we're working on would be in the garage.
Sure.
So keeps them out of the rain.
It's a good way to go.
Yeah. Is there such thing as like a ideal minimal garage you could have? I've thought about this for a while. Like for me, like if I bought a house and I'm planning on 2, 3-car garage I think would probably be the limit, because you have one bay for your projects, whatever the house could be, a door, whatever, and build. One for the daily, or if the wife wants one, and one bay for your project, and that's dedicated for all the parts, tools, and whatever. There,
it won't fit. That is not practical.
That is never.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, what is the
3-car is for me? 3 cars minimum, right? Yeah. Especially if I do have a car trailer, I can park the other car out there because I cannot have just one project car.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, if you're going to work on your car in that space,
you need
a
single or double. Barely, it won't work.
It won't work. You can park 2 cars in there, but you're not working on anything.
Maybe a 2-car garage, just to work on it, but not to store it.
Yes.
Well, I think too, some of that's age dependent, because I mean, how many of us has probably worked in cars in worse spots?
Oh yeah.
But you get to a certain point, and comfort level is
my car. My car was. I was gonna take it over to my buddy's shop a week ago, and I changed the oil in my truck on the street.
Yeah,
because I could. I mean, I'm like, screw it. I can. It's lifted. I can just crawl right under it.
It's tall enough. Yeah.
I change out the solenoids in the transmission on the street in front of my house because my driveway's got a little bit of a slant to it. I wanted everything level.
It's perfect.
I did the same thing in my other F-350, work on the transmission with a slanted driveway, but I just drove it up on blocks on the slant so that it was level and then crawled under it. But we've all done the garage or the driveway working on crap. You have to.
You do.
You know, it's dependent on where you are in life. I'm at the point that, no, I'm not doing that. I want a shop. I've got a shop. I've got multiple bays. I've got multiple lifts.
Yeah.
And hell yeah, I'm going to use that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
And I invite my friends. You know, if you need a lift, fucking call me.
That's cool,
Bring
dude.
it over.
I need a lift.
Come over.
Probably the next 6 to 8 months.
See,
but I heard you just got a new one.
If I asked you, Rob, it would be like a day or 2.
That's fine.
Okay,
that's
cool.
perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. No, everybody's. Yes, we're all finances dependent and depends on where we live.
For sure.
But, our ultimate, I would have an even bigger shop. It would be twice the size of what I have.
I'd like an 80-footer.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
80 by 100.
5 lifts. Yeah.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine just built a 60 by 80 shop last
there
year.
you go.
Nice. That'll work.
Man.
That's nice.
And he doesn't even have a project car at this point. Wow. He's got his boat and his truck.
What does he have?
Just parking shit in it?
He just got room to build the shop, and his wife said, go ahead.
You know what happened? His wife filled it with shit.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh,
well, he better get a project car in there before she does.
Well, he's got a couple. I think he's got a 32 Chevy truck or a 38 Chevy truck.
That's cool.
And his wife, I think, has one that's pretty close. I think maybe it's a 40 or 42.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they got project cars.
But they have the family owns a big farm, so they're out in the shops at the farm.
Oh.
So he's not filling his shop.
Well, he needs another project car.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, that's ultimate. Yeah. I'd love to have a 60 or 80 by 100.
It's got a little office in it where you can just go hang out as man space.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was in my shop last night, and it was getting late. It was like 10 o'clock, and I was like, I really don't want to go to the house. I just want to hang out in my shop.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. I got to go.
And it's easy
worth
to do.
It, bro.
Yeah.
It's really, you get into something, or sometimes you're just in your space.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to be out here.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
For sure.
I can't do that. If I was falling asleep in my shop, I would be at work the next day.
Oh, I did.
I'm like, no, I'm good.
I did fall asleep out there a few days ago.
Nice.
I put race seats in my Corvette. So
Yeah.
I've got my Z06 seats just sitting on the floor, and I just use them to sit there.
Yeah.
I've got a TV. I'll watch a moto race or something on TV in the shop. Or,
What seats did you put in it, Rob?
a Corvo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I was just sitting in the Z06 seats, and I just dozed off. I was sitting there in my shop and fell asleep.
That's as good as place as any.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was really good. I'm sure everybody's thrilled about listening to my nap time.
Yeah, and Z06 seats on the floor. Yeah, that sounds like a good nap.
They're not bad.
Could be
awesome.
worse things to sit in the
That's
shop.
what I'm saying, you know?
100%, yeah.
I still have the little rolling stool.
Yeah.
Big Red.
Yep. The Harbor Freight Special.
Oh yeah, I
Those
got
are
one of
sweet.
those.
You want to know, honestly, the best place to fall asleep on is between 2 axles on a semi.
Oof.
Because
Really?
their tires are so big, it just kind of makes
so you
like
just
an
kinda
arching.
sit in there?
Yeah, it makes it arch like a hammock.
Oh.
It's just so comfortable.
All right.
Yeah.
I know where Grant's taking naps at lunchtime.
It's either that or on the back of a crane boom.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. So, have any of you guys, I know Grant has, but you've heard of the Cash for Clunkers program?
Oh, yeah.
I've used it.
You have.
What?
I want to hear all about
please
this.
do tell.
Sean, I don't think we can be friends anymore, bro.
Well,
It depends on what you traded
I actually
in.
don't know if it was Cash for Clunkers per se, but it was. I have used the program where they came to my house, picked up the car.
Oh, I've used that one. They give you like $500 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one's different.
Okay.
So-
I was gonna say I don't think it was a Cash for Clunkers thing, but
Right.
it was. They came to my house, they took away a car. Again, I was in between moving and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't need this. I want
Is
it out of
that
my
how
way.
you got rid of the split window Corvette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$500.
$500.
You know?
Best $500 I ever made.
Yeah. He offered me 4, but I'm like, you got to sweeten the pot a little bit.
Yeah, there's
bit.
2 windows.
It runs. You can drive it up on the lift.
No,
I had
I had a 81 Ford Fairmont.
Oh yeah, okay.
Dude,
So-
that's a Fox body chassis.
Yeah,
it was.
And you
I
cashed
had a-
for
You
clunkered?
texted me about
You,
that.
Yeah.
you clunkered that thing?
I did.
Come on,
Well,
dude.
well,
Okay, so remember when I said when I don't hate you for it? Now I do.
Yeah, I did. So, story behind that. So, my sister had a 92 or 93 Ford Tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, that deserves the crusher.
Yeah.
She beat the shit out of it. I think when it came to me, she used it for college.
Sure.
And when it came to me, it had like 42,000 miles on it. And I don't think the oil had ever been changed.
Oh.
And she was just going to get rid of it. I said, well, hell, I'll take it. And so I took it, did a once over on it,
Sure.
and I rallied the hell out of that car.
Perfect.
I mean, I've got videos of me doing like truck pulls against Dodge half tons with it.
Oh, you were serious. I thought you meant you just drove it.
Oh no! We beat it up. I've got a picture somewhere worth about 4 feet in the air that I was jumping in.
Wow.
Was it the hatchback?
No, it
was the four-door, the sedan.
The
I know they
coupe.
made. I know they made the coupe.
Yeah, no,
little fancier one. Right?
I beat the shit out of this car. It was so bad. In fact, I got a picture. We were trying to impress some girls one night, and so we parked the truck on top of the car. And I had to go out the next morning. I had to go to work, so I had to take a cutoff wheel and cut the fenders open. So that because the fenders were stuffed down into the tires.
Oh wow!
So I had to get up early and cut the fenders open so that I could get to work in the morning. And then
Was that the end of the car?
This is serious.
that was not the end of the car. We drove it for a long time.
Huh.
It would not die.
Wow.
And it had a little 2.3 liter Ford in it.
Yeah.
And so then I inherited when my great grandmother died. She had this 81 Ford Fairmont that she bought new, and it had like next to no miles on it. And so I took the tempo down, but the car had been sitting in the barn for years.
Was it rusty?
No, it was beautiful. It's beautiful condition. It had a layer of dust on it, but it didn't run real well. The carburetor was all gummed up.
Sure.
And so I took the Ford Tempo down to the junkyard and I traded it in for a carburetor. And put the carburetor on the Tempo or on the Fairmont. And then I started driving it around. It was just my daily. Because at the time I had a Dodge V10. So
yeah. You were trying to save a couple bucks.
Yeah. And then I learned that it was on an F body, so I started swapping parts in.
Oh, yeah.
And I was working at Les Schwab as their suspension mechanic at the time. And so I had access to lifts. And I ended up putting a 3-inch Cadillac exhaust on it. And I just kind of drove it around. And I put air shocks in the back, so I had a big rake on it.
Dude, that's
polished
perfect.
it all up.
I can see it.
And I ended up getting my hands on a high nickel content 302 that I was going to put in it. And then I got my hands on the Pontiac, or my second Pontiac.
And the Fairmont went away.
And
you clunkered it.
I did.
Oh, God.
I did, because I was like, man, I don't want to. Dude, I was so busy. I was in the apprenticeship for my work, and I was still doing the military thing, and young kids. And I just called them up, and they were like, hey, we'll give you $500. And I said, hey, perfect, come get it.
Serious question. Were you too lazy to sell it, like on Craigslist or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
100%. It was just, it was
You
a
could have
time.
got twice the money.
Easily.
Oh, yeah, easily. It was just a, what is my time worth?
Got it.
I can make
Selling
one phone
shit kinda
call
sucks.
and they
Oh,
can get
it's
it.
terrible.
Yeah, I hate selling stuff.
Yeah.
Because you always get those guys, and they come out, and they,
lowball you.
lowball you.
And,
Or they'll ghost
Or they don't
you.
show up.
Ghosting.
Yeah.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Or you'll be like, hey, I'm coming again. They're like, cool.
Yeah.
And then you like get there and it's gone.
Oh, and I got no patience for that.
You ever had that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the worst.
Well, I sold it. What?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You told me to come over.
You knew I was on the way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Could have messaged
Yeah, no,
me
so
or something.
yeah, absolutely. It was out of laziness. It was just and not wanting to deal with it. It
Well,
wasn't worth
I
my time.
appreciate the honesty.
No.
So,
Interesting.
But cash for clunkers in general was an awful deal. I mean, granted, there was so many, there was so many crappy cars that went under during that time, which good riddance.
Yeah.
Like all the Malays era front wheel drive GM crap, the Ford crap that was just. But there were so many nice cars, like a bunch of 90s
there were a few
JDM cars that got
I took notes on
screwed.
it. So I actually downloaded the list of all the cars that were traded in. And
there's an actual list of all.
You're gonna break my heart, Rob.
I have it. If you want to look it up,
Can we put it up?
It's in our email.
Can we put it up?
Yes, we can pull it up.
I'm gonna hop on the computer.
Yeah, grab that. So just pull up our email, and it's in there.
I need to see this.
Yeah. So I took some notes on it because I kind of got fascinated with it. So the program ran in 2009. Ran from August to November. It was a $2.85 billion program.
Wow.
Okay, that's how much
Stop it.
our government spent on buying back cars. And the whole idea was to buy back vehicles that were inefficient, poor gas mileage, poor EPA standards.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yep, switch it. So the each vehicle traded in was given a value between $3,500 and $4,500. Anything that got between 4 and 10 miles to the gallon was worth $3,500.
So they give you more money based on
the fuel economy that the vehicle that you had you traded in. So yeah, it was more if it got 10 or better, you'd get more. For some reason, they didn't run that the opposite. You get that figured out?
I must have
sign in.
Yeah,
I must have missed out on this whole thing because I didn't realize because I was right in the time frame that I sold that Fairmont, but I just one of those cash for cars. Maybe I should have taken advantage of the cash.
Dude, I mean, that's a good deal. I mean, if I had some,
if somebody had given me $3,500 for an 81
big block
Fairmont,
72 truck that barely ran.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know probably the big truck guys are going to be mad at me for saying this.
But if it's going to sit in the field and do nothing for the next 40 years.
Rob, did it have to run?
I believe it did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Did it have to move?
Put a little bit of money into it?
Did it have to move?
I think they had to be able to drive it to the lot.
Onto the trailer or something. Okay.
To the
lot.
dealer lot.
Okay.
Yeah, to trade it in. It's coming. It's loading.
Yeah,
You're signed in.
We're in.
Okay. Go to email.
No.
All right.
So kind of feel like I left a bunch of money on the table now.
I think you
Thanks,
did.
Rob.
Okay, here we go.
So yeah, eligible vehicles had to have an EPA MPG rating of 18 miles a gallon or less.
Where do we have it, Rob, on the drive? Or?
No, it's right there.
So basically, any car that was turbocharged
down,
before 2005.
That one, right there. And click on the attachment.
Or V8.
Or V8.
Carbureted.
Modern V8.
Yeah.
Probably blow that up. Right down there at the bottom.
Oh my God, look at this.
Yep. How many pages is that?
Oh. It's 138 pages.
138 pages.
Alfa Romeos
single spaced.
Well, which alphas? Can you go back?
So I have some notes.
just passenger car. They're not giving you this stuff.
I have to know.
Oh no.
Oh, tons of Audis.
Oh no. It's everything.
I have
the notes. I have the notes. Okay, I already combed through it and counted them up because they separated. The list is a little funky. It's separated by dealership.
Wow.
So there's a lot of dealerships in there.
Sure.
So each one took in these various vehicles. So it's separated out that way. I spent the time to count up cars that we would be interested in.
Okay, perfect.
So the program didn't really work out the way the government had anticipated. Yes, it was. They spent $2.8 billion buying back cars, but it didn't spike sales of more efficient cars like they thought it would. They wanted to get more efficient cars on the road. That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Pull the bad ones off the road, give them an incentive to buy a new one.
Okay.
People bought new ones, but not the more efficient ones.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked, it kind of didn't. There's a lot of nuances to it, right?
Absolutely.
I definitely will say there's less. It feels like driving on the road, you barely see any 80s cars now.
That's
And
true.
70s cars.
Oh, God, no.
There was also a catch, though. The car that you were buying had to cost less than $45K.
Oh, God.
And that was at 2008 money, right?
2009.
2009 money.
Yeah.
So you had to buy another clunker.
Basically, yes. So you're not getting high economy out of a $45,000 car at that time. Now,
Or a good
2009, that was a fair amount for a car, right?
Yeah, that was, like, for example, I believe, 2005 Ford Excursion, so 4-year difference.
Okay.
$39,000 for an Eddie Bauer edition.
So that car would qualify.
That would qualify.
That is not
But
an EPA.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what they wanted.
Dodge Viper, $49,900
Yeah.
is what that cost.
Okay.
You know?
Out of the range,
Yeah,
but still.
but I'm saying, yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
So people were buying stuff that didn't have great fuel economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what they could afford under this stipulated program.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy. Yeah, there was a bunch of stipulations, like the cars had to be less than 25 years old at trade-in. They had to drive them onto the lot, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Stipulations as far as the fuel economy that the car got
Right.
and all that, right?
That was kind of one of my...
So there was 677,081 cars traded in.
Wow.
In what was that, a 4-month period?
It was 4 months.
Yeah. 677,000 cars. Holy Jesus, that's a lot of cars.
That's a ton of cars.
Rob,
Yeah.
I need to know, did any of my, holy cars make it
Yes.
from the
I'm
Ferrari?
sure of it.
No Ferraris.
Okay. I would have lost
No.
my mind.
No Ferraris.
I'm sure my Holy Grail cars did.
What is it?
Grant.
Oh,
Yours and mine are a little different,
yeah.
bro.
What's your holy grail?
Well, I'm at a 93 RX-7.
RX-7, I didn't see any of those, but there is a 200 SX. Just one.
That's okay.
Just one.
A 200?
Yeah, 200, whatever, dude. I was
All right,
thinking,
so-
I've always in my mind imagined like an...
Five
bunch.
Porsche 928 S4s.
Okay.
Wow.
That's sad.
That is... Oh, here's the other thing. Do you know what they did with these cars?
Tell us.
They crushed them.
Yeah, I know. They instantly
what
crushed
they
them.
make of them?
They went straight to the crusher.
No parts.
All of them. No parts.
Yeah.
No resale. They were not put on a used car lot. The whole idea was to get rid of these cars. They took them straight to the junkyard and crushed them.
So, did that mean the junkyards were making money off of that?
No.
Scrap.
They
Well, yeah,
scrapped
but,
them.
I mean, something had to happen with
They
that.
scrapped it for steel price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. They did not really make money on it. I mean, the scrapper got scrap
No,
price, right?
No
Yeah.
engine blocks out, nothing.
Nothing.
It was just
Into the
see you
crusher.
later.
Done.
Yeah.
Gone. Yep.
I
And it
knew
was-
that much. I knew
and-
that much.
Yeah, and it was a mandate that they went straight there. Like, they loaded them on car haulers, took them straight to the crusher.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
wild.
5 928 S4s, 6 944s. Now 944, whatever. Still a Porsche,
Look,
right?
if you
I'll take a
Yeah.
944.
Yeah.
I think they're
Yeah.
cool.
Right?
Think of this. If this was 2 years ago, at the peak of Porsche prices,
Oh,
each
yeah.
of those, let's just say 928s, were at running condition,
Yeah.
where at the height were like 30 to 40 grand. There was 944s, they used to be a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
They've gone down, but they were at the point where like 12 grand a piece
Yeah.
for one of the cheaper Porsches.
Well, and they're going up.
They're going
They
up.
are going up.
Yeah.
But
Because it's a front engine V8,
yeah,
Yeah.
Porsche.
yeah.
So,
That's wow.
yep, kind of crazy. What do we got? 6 pages of Toyotas.
Oh, no,
I thought
so now
Toyotas
you're-
run
now-
forever.
Now,
Right?
now you're going to break my heart.
980 Camaros from 1985 to 1999.
That's why I can't find any parts in the pick and pull.
900?
Yeah, 980 Camaros.
Was there more
Screwed
Camaros
by
than
the man
Mustangs?
again.
Gen 3s.
Well, that makes
All Gen
perfect
3s.
sense.
Was there more Camaros than Mustangs?
I guess there is some Gen 4s in there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll get to it.
Okay.
El
Who's
Cami-
going to scrap a Gen 4
El
at that
Caminos?
time?
202 El Caminos. 87 to 88, or 84 to 87 El
The old
Caminos.
G-body. El Caminos.
118
G-bodies, yeah.
Corvettes.
Oh,
Of varying
come
years?
on.
Yeah.
What was the oldest one? Do you know?
84,
What was the newest one?
94.
Oh,
Wow.
84 to
I'm
94.
sorry.
10
You
year range.
scrapped a 10-year-old Corvette?
Yeah. Yep. It wasn't
That's
even 10 years
insane.
old when they I mean,
That's
I
what
guess
I'm
it was.
saying.
Yeah, yeah.
10 years
13
old?
years old.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You could flip that for nothing.
Guy probably blew a head gasket, sat in the garage for years.
That's true.
Oh.
No, you had to drive it. You had to drive it. Yeah.
Hey, you can drive it.
He drove it 4 miles.
Drive it to 4 miles down to the.
I don't like this thing. I'm going to trade it in.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an excursion.
I'm hoping no ZL1s were crushed then. Or ZR1s.
Well, I don't think that.
Because they looked at
C4s didn't have ZR1, did it?
Yeah.
Did they?
That was a 90 or no?
There was a ZR1.
ZR1, and it was
I don't
very
think the
rare.
list specified.
It was an LT4 quad cam V8, right?
No. That came after. Before it was a special engine designed by Lotus.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Quad cam V8.
Yeah. Was that still what an LT4 was considered?
It was called an LT4.
Oh
no, the LT4.
I thought it was different.
No, it is, bro. Look it up.
All right.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah, let's look into it.
Because
you guys are talking to a huge GM guy here.
Yeah.
You don't think I'm a huge Chevy?
Well, you just told me no. And I'm gonna tell you what the real GM LT4, the first one was.
Yeah.
Your nickname is Mr. 4.6.
Watch this.
I thought it was Mr. Loud.
That's the other
Here we
nickname.
go. 1984 through 1996, Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 LT. It was an LT1 they called it. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, wait.
But I'm talking the C4 version.
Wait for it. That's what I'm talking about. LT4. ZR1 LT4. It was the Lotus developed LT4 V8.
Lotus.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
So,
well, they sent him to the crusher.
You were right, but it was called the LT4. So don't get mad at me.
No, I'm not. That's what I was wondering. Like, if that because LT for
so
Lotus
Chevy's recent reveal of all new flat plane crank LT6 in the probably got many of us thinking about Corvette engines of the past. Let's take a look at the Lotus developed 5.7 liter LT4 that powered the C4 Corvette ZR1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Good one.
I've done some research here and there. All right.
I know a thing.
They're great.
Or two.
And the best part was Mercury Marine built the block.
Really?
So Cosworth and Lotus did the heads.
Yep.
And then they put it on a marine based block.
Rob,
it was an incredible motor. It was all aluminum,
yeah.
which was rare at the time for a V8.
Rob, I know I sent you a lot of videos, but I'm positive that was a video I said was on that ZR1, and that was like a week ago. Something like that, yeah. I'll send it to you again tonight.
There was so many videos coming in, you could not expect me. I just glanced at it, I'm like,
you have to just scroll.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was really busy. I worked in the shop all day.
But how many times do you click open and like, that was a magical video, Grant?
I don't know, once or twice.
There you go. See, so every 4 times you click on the video, one guy likes it.
That's about right, too. That's about right. That's about the number I click into, and then I'll send you a message. That was cool. All right, so moving on. 118 Corvettes. It's crushing to my soul, but they were C4s, so whatever.
At least they were all C4s.
Yeah. Firebirds. Okay, they're a little more rare.
WS6? What year?
Firebirds, Trans Am, and Formula models included.
Oh.
Those are the rare ones, okay?
Wow. Well, he's
1984 to 2000 models.
Oh. So, there was probably WS6.
Or third gens.
Wow. Yeah, they're trading in a 9-year-old
and 4th
vehicle.
gens.
There was a 4. Yeah.
Okay? 543 of them.
Well, that's not that high, but
that's enough.
It's relative. It's relative because there's not a lot of them out there.
I wish there was less.
Yeah,
Firebirds. I don't know.
No, I'm saying I wish there was less crushed.
Right,
that's a lot.
Yeah. They got rid of a lot, so the numbers that are out there still. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's way sad.
So the 300Z from 84 to 96, not the greatest 300Z.
Well, the 96 were great.
Yeah.
Okay,
those were awesome.
Okay. Well, they crushed them.
How many?
That's how awesome they were.
Jesus,
363 of them.
That's too many.
Yeah,
but the like the 80s ones were kind of crap.
Yeah,
they were kind of crap.
Yeah, that was the. I'm trying to think of how to describe the body style of the 80s 300.
I mean,
it wasn't. It was so bland.
It was just a kind of a elf
wedge.
Shoe looking thing. It wasn't. It had a really pointy front end and.
There was a guy at the autocross last weekend that had one of the, I guess it would be a 2nd gen 300Z.
Okay.
Non-turbo.
So those weren't bad, and I really love the 240Z, 260Z like the older ones, like the 70s. Those things look awesome.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Yeah. They look great.
But then that one in the middle, the first Gen 300Z, not very good. But then the second Gen 300Z, because they didn't rename it.
No, they didn't. It was 300Z.
Yeah. And they had the non-turbo, and then they had the twin-turbo version.
Yes.
You don't see a lot of those anymore.
No, you don't.
Those are the one we talked about before, where they just kind of junked them.
They did junk them because they were they were difficult to work on. They were over-engineered for the time.
Right.
They had a ton of, like, especially the twin-turbo one.
Yeah.
It had active aero, active suspension, all this stuff that was, like, brand new in the 90s.
Yeah. It was
and
a cool
nobody
car,
could
though.
fix it because they're like, this is nuts.
I liked the styling of that car.
Oh, me too.
Like, when it was new and I would see it on the road, I was like, God, that is really cool. I'd like to have
Fun fact. The headlights used for that car went in the Lamborghini Diablo.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's neat.
That's also one of the reasons why on eBay they're so expensive right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Because
that's cool.
They needed a headlight that met no flip-up law at the time, and 300ZX already had them.
That's pretty sweet.
They had to have something that could take the speed rating of it for the high speed, and that was the only thing that could meet it.
Neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool. You guys have mentioned the 3000 GT before, so
I love that car.
That's on the list.
No!
Oh, it is. 182 of them.
Any VR4?
Doesn't specify.
I'm sure there was a couple, Grant.
Ooh, Maserati bi-turbo.
You know it. Oh, I loved those.
Yeah, those are great cars.
V8 twin turbo, front engine, rear-wheel drive.
Crushed 4 of them.
Oh.
Anything that says Maserati, are you kidding me? Quattroporte.
Yeah, Quattroporte.
Quattroportes are on there?
Crushed one of those.
Oh, wow. What year? Because those didn't
85.
Interesting.
That's an old car.
Yeah.
But it was a cool car.
It was old even then, right? In 2009.
No, it was great car though.
Right. But Maserati.
And he drove it there.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, guys.
He drove it
They drove it there.
Uh-huh.
That's sad.
That could have been
drove it to the crusher.
Or restoration project.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay, the moment you've been waiting for, Grant.
I'm looking at the list too, by the way, and I found a car and you're like, I can't believe they crushed.
Okay.
So
you want to spill it? That's probably on the list.
There's Supras on here.
Oh yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Supras that were crushed.
That's just in one spot, Grant.
Yeah.
So each section is divided up into dealerships. So
get out of here.
Each dealership has multiples of each car, so you have to go
Stop
through the whole
it.
thing.
Yeah. So
yes, they crushed.
And they weren't just old Supras. So this is from the section I looked at. It's from 86 to 97.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I don't know.
And that was one dealership.
You guys know a 97 Supra, left-hand drive. If it was turbo, I'm not saying it was, they're worth like 80 grand now.
I thought they were worth more than that now.
I don't know.
If they're in great condition.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't know why.
Manual,
I didn't write down
twin turbo.
I don't know why.
That's insane.
It is insane. So Grant's going to hemorrhage on the Mustangs. The number of Mustangs that were crushed.
5. Let's just say 5.
Yeah,
keep it easy.
Right,
84 to 2008. So consider the body style.
Okay.
2008?
Yeah.
People were crushing 08s?
A 1-year-old car. They were
wow.
They're like,
they were a Mustang driver.
What did they have? 10 miles?
No, they probably wrapped it around a telephone.
No, they had
to drive it, bro.
You can still drive. You can drive a wrecked car.
That's true. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
Pull the metal off the tires and go.
1,568 of them. Yep. That's the highest number vehicle that met the crusher.
I mean, that would explain why we don't see any 80s Mustangs much anymore. But wow.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Wow.
Do you know what an Excalibur Phaeton is?
Excalibur?
I know what a Phaeton is. I don't know what an Excalibur is.
Yeah, it's... I mean, you can
Can
look
we
at
pull it up?
You can pull it up, yeah.
I'm going to pull it up.
Okay.
Excalibur Phaeton.
Ford Lightning pickups.
Oh, I love
like
those.
Original ones?
Yeah.
It's
6 of them.
Which year?
Wow.
Which year?
Of the Phaeton?
No, of the Excalibur. Or the
Lightning.
Lightning.
I don't know why I didn't write that down. I don't know.
Because there's...
Because there was 2 gens.
Yeah.
Real gens.
Yeah.
Oh, Excalibur Phaeton. It's like an old school looking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know...
Like cruiser thing. Like British looking car.
Can I see?
Yeah.
While we're here, let's go down that road for just a second.
Okay.
The Ford Lightning went from...
The original?
The original.
Yeah.
Went from just a sweet pickup. And I think, if I remember right, and I'm not positive on this, but they talked about having to detune them.
Yes. Because they wouldn't hook up.
Yes.
Yeah.
The original ones?
Yeah.
And now the Ford Lightning is an EV.
That hooks up.
That still won't hook up.
Yeah.
It only hooks up because it weighs 10,000 pounds.
It's kind of disappointing, though. If you
Just
look at
kind
it from
of?
like a, you know, from a...
I wish they wouldn't have named it that.
Look, man.
They could have come up with something better.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to EVs. I'm not going to sit here and say
Are we
that
gonna
I
go
don't
down
like
that
them.
road?
I mean, we've done it
If
before.
we do, we got to go down
tou-
Jurassic Park as well.
We touched on it a little bit last time. But I'm not opposed to
damn it.
EVs in general. But please don't steal the namesake of a badass truck.
Well, I agree. They're doing
And
that.
put it on
they
the
did it to
stupid
the
shit.
Mustang, too.
Yeah, the Mach-E was
yeah.
garbage.
Did
Did
Come
you
on,
see
man.
that Challenger concept that they had that was an EV?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
the one that
like
howled.
It had speakers underneath it or something.
That's you. Remember that
Come
sound?
on,
Yes.
man.
That's not a concept.
It was
That's coming.
It was amazing.
Yeah. No.
It was so amazingly funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, but it becomes funny, and then people take it serious. That's what happened with the Cybertruck.
Well, you know what's going to
Which-
happen
look,
when
just-
they.
all the
You know what's going to
Cybertruck
happen when they
looks
sell
like
the
is
new
a trash
Charger?
can.
It's going to sell like hotcakes. So many because they're like it's going to have 1,200 horsepower,
Electric horsepower.
and people don't care though.
I know.
Normal people don't care.
Yeah.
Car
I don't
guys
know.
care. We
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
I care.
I think that's where the line, you're right, the differentiator
Yeah.
is.
Normal people, fuck it.
Normally, it's like, I get
And
the
they get a
Charger.
$300 or a $3,000 tax write-off. Perfect.
It's getting less and less. Like they're
Yes.
anyways, but
Yes.
on the side note, cash for clunkers.
Yep.
Because I do know they did have at the time electric and hybrid cars. Were any of those like early Priuses crush or anything? Because that's a whole different method how to crush them, as well as
I didn't.
you know.
I didn't notice any as I was going through the list.
Yeah.
I was more focused on muscle cars and stuff that was
Cool.
potentially cool or worth something. You
Yeah.
know? So I didn't really notice that. I
Okay.
did see an Aston Martin DB7.
Oh
What?
wow!
Yeah,
Dude, that's heartbreaking.
it is.
That is heartbreaking.
Like seriously,
Those are
An Aston
badass.
Martin DB.
And he
okay.
drove it. You
And he drove it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 Roush Performance F-150s.
Wow.
I looked up the current value of those. It's $25,000.
Today.
Jeez.
And they got 3,500
I've got to say,
Max.
max. Well, 4,500 max.
I've got to say,
45
if
max.
you've got to drive a car to there to be demolished and crushed and whatever,
Yeah.
It's not going to be an Aston Martin
no,
DB7.
well, no, I'm just saying, like,
wouldn't think
you
so.
either have to really, really hate that car, or
just be clueless.
well, because the attack, like, to drive it there,
Yeah.
you know, like the emotional to do it.
Yeah.
If someone's going to pick up car, it's different. But actually having to spend time, go to the dealership, sit there, get the documents going through.
Right.
I mean,
That's a good point.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know if it's equivalent, but say if it's just a car that you've had in the family for a while and going down like a pet,
Yeah.
you know, putting something down. Is it something that you have emotions attached to? But it's time. We don't have the space. We don't have time for it. Or
That's weird.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Where are you at in life?
yeah,
You know?
Yeah. Aston
I
Martin.
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
DB7.
Well,
I got the new GB8.
It's a damn
different
nice
people think
car.
about things absolutely, but different people think about. I mean, where you're
Or-
in
Yeah.
life is it
Or
you know
maybe-
I've had this car in my garage and I've wanted to restore it, but I fell on hard times, and you know $4,500 can you know pay.
But you
Or
had
so-
to buy
roof over my
another
head.
You
car.
have to finance
Oh, you
another
have
car.
had to buy another car.
Okay, now
ju-
disregard
it- you
disregard
were
everything
spending-
I said.
It just
then.
took it off the top of your next
It
car.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
you were spending
disregard
40
whatever I said
grand,
then.
man.
And it was still
Okay.
40 grand. It was 2009, 2010. You were screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't a lot of money. You
Yeah.
weren't getting some crazy car.
No.
The only thing I can imagine is, and I hate to say this, but maybe some rich old lady like, oh, my husband died.
Doesn't know what
Aston
it
Martin
is.
DB7. I'll drive it down there. Whatever. I don't care.
Could you imagine
But it
being
got
a car
crushed.
guy?
It
Could
got
you-
crushed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like mechanics took the motor out and
Right.
sold it out. No, they crushed it.
Could you imagine being the guy that's running the crusher or the
There's-
excavator that has to pick that thing up and
There's-
put it in the crusher and be like, I know what that is.
I will send you a video. There's a guy on YouTube on VinWiki
No,
who
I
did a whole
couldn't.
story about that, and he was of his emotional down, like going
Yeah.
through it. It
Yeah.
was not pretty.
crushing those cars.
As a
But-
car guy, oh,
That would be
Here's
horrible.
because like he, I'll get to that. But here's nothing. How many spouses do you think did that out of anger?
I don't know. They had to spend another 40 grand though.
Yeah,
So-
but
and,
if,
that's
if-
kind of what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
too.
yeah,
Maybe they got
they'll,
to
they'll take the car. The
She
deep,
got it in the
There's
divorce.
677,000 chances of that happening.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and I'm not saying that women don't have a clue, but I will say
Yeah.
that, they're like, oh, I want a brand new Corolla.
Yeah.
That's
he didn't
fine.
need that
I don't-
Corvette.
the
I need
Corvette-
something more gas
the Corvette
mileage for
runs
the family.
weird. It's too fast for me.
I don't
care.
like that car. It's
Right.
noisy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So the last one I put on the list was the GMC Typhoon. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
No.
Cool, very cool.
The SUV.
I really like that.
Yes, several of those were crushed.
What about the Cyclone? Or
The Typhoon and the SS Blazer, basically
yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
They're now worth anywhere between $25,000 and $50,000.
Yeah, they're expensive.
That I would like to have.
Yeah,
They were great, cool trucks.
Yeah.
very cool truck.
How many? Did you get a number on that?
One.
Oh, no.
Oh, at least
Well,
there's
that's not
Yeah.
horrible.
I want
No.
to
One too many.
Rob, did you see if there was any?
But there was less than 5,000 made.
right.
Yeah, that's why.
The one
That's
car that I would
sad.
expect to be on the list. Do you know how many Fieros were actually crushed?
Didn't see it.
Okay,
Don't know.
I know from being, from restoring the Lamborghini and from
Mhm.
being around Fieros,
They're a little harder to get, aren't they?
they are very harder to get.
Yeah.
They're at the point where, for example, 88s were a very different year and
Yeah.
very unique parts on that.
They were awesome.
Talking in the community, it's near impossible to find rear brake calipers. Like I needed them for
Oh,
my
yeah.
car. I had to buy them from a junkyard
Yeah.
in Missouri, Mississippi,
Have them shipped
and
out.
had ship. But besides that, the guy said, I won't. He's like, I've stopped selling them. He's like, the only reason I'll sell them to you is you talk to me on the phone, and it sounds like you know what you're doing. These, I'm going to let you know, are cores. They have to be rebuilt
Gotcha.
because there is no more actual stock of new in stock or just any ones
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So hearing about these cars that were crushed, how many, one-off cars or parts that could be
there's-
used that are just
There's
gone?
the list, however
That's the
many
worst
hundreds
part.
of pages.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the worst part
If
of
you
it.
want to
Greg.
look it up,
Yeah.
it's right there.
Think of how many jobs you could have created just for people building an industry of taking those apart and selling stuff.
Selling
Oh my
parts.
god.
Yeah. Now let's just send them to the crusher. That's our government at work. Good job, guys.
Couldn't agree more.
Do you think there could be a
Efficiency
program
at its
that
best.
could that program ever come back, or could it be
Oh,
done
dude.
efficiently?
They're going to try it again.
That's an interesting thought.
Well, here's the
I
thing,
mean,
like-
they had to have learned some things through the
Yeah.
process.
Well, of course they did. They couldn't have made much money.
They
couldn't.
spent $2.85 billion
That's what I'm saying.
doing
And
it.
what they make in scrap on, what was it, 9,700 cars?
But it doesn't.
Or
I don't-
97,
I don't
or
even know.
half
I don't
a
know.
million cars?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, half a million cars.
677.
What'd you make in scrap steel to China for that?
but it doesn't matter on the scrap steel. It depends on if people are buying cars and if what's going on the road, what's staying on the road.
Right.
Like
That-
look
that
at we
was
don't
their
see
whole
80
point.
cars or 70s car on the road anymore.
Oh,
Here's
rare.
the thing. I believe that if EVs take off like they want them to,
Mhm.
I think there could be a giant gas buyback.
I could see that.
What better reason?
Especially Europe, I could see that doing because they're really focusing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it wouldn't surprise me. I can't say no. It definitely wouldn't surprise me. But, you're talking about the scrap dollars. I don't even know where the scrap dollars went. Did it go to the dealership who
Yeah.
traded the cars in? Did they have to subsidize that back to the government?
yeah,
Or was that money then put on top of the car loan?
yeah. That's
know.
And
that's
just
what
ate.
Yeah, basically it disappeared.
that's what I was asking. The first thing I asked was like,
Yeah.
how much money did they make? And
Right.
we said the scrap. I'm like, well, where did like
the
if
article I read
yeah,
didn't say
Yeah,
Mhm.
where that went.
Yeah.
That information might be out there somewhere.
yeah.
But I don't know it.
Yeah.
I spent far too much time on this anyway.
But it's
but it was
fast.
very interesting.
Well,
It's
thank you for doing
fascinating
that.
to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
This was a part of American history that happened.
yeah,
And as a
it
car
was very
person,
interesting.
this is something that it should be known.
Absolutely.
This was a
Yeah.
think of
Most
this.
people don't know it even happened.
Yeah, and they're
No, it was news to me. I didn't know what happened.
yeah, and it should be
I
something
remember
that
it.
be talked about, and say like, okay, if something like this does happen again,
hmm
what can we learn from that?
I would think they would restructure it, and they spent 3 times more than they thought they were going to on
Yeah.
the program.
Oof.
They didn't think that it was going to be that they'd get 677,000 people to do it.
Yeah.
So it was like a $1 billion program to start with, and they ended up spending 2.85.
Well, this is the end of our
Sounds
recession,
like
wasn't
the
it?
governed
That was mid-recession.
It was
So then, yeah,
mid-recession.
then that made it
that
even
was that was
worse.
a remedy. It was like a remedy idea, right? Essentially.
It was part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the EPA and getting gas guzzlers. Oh, I tripped on that one. Gas guzzlers off the road was, I think, majority of it. But
Sure.
they were trying to stimulate the car market. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That part didn't really work. And I think from what they said in the article, it was because of the cap they put on the price of the car that you were to buy. It was $45,000 cap.
Yeah.
And
It would have changed if they'd upped it a little bit.
yeah.
You think
And
so?
also,
There was a
well,
lot of cars you could have bought back then for that much money.
No, I
Also-
agree, but I feel like 55 would have like opened the market.
Well, it would have been
Exponentially.
more lucrative to the dealers
I think what would
if they could have spent more.
I want to know if at the time if there was deals being broken on the interest rate. Because the other big
I
thing is
don't
at the time, like, well, you guys were more around at the time than I was. Like buying cars back then because the economy crashed.
Yeah.
Banks were really frugal with their money for lending out, well, for houses, but like was the auto loan industry. If you tried to say buy a brand new car and go to the bank, would it be
was
like twisting your
expensive.
arm? Would they say no? Would it be a flat refusal? And then
No,
with-
they were trying to stimulate, so they were giving good interest rates.
Yeah.
Like, interest rates plummeted and that kind of stuff. So you could get, like, I remember at that time you could get a Ford loan for 0%. And they still do
Wow.
that. They still do that now when things are not moving. They'll
Yeah.
offer certain vehicles at 0%.
Yeah, and Toyota does too.
Yeah, Toyota,
Toyota-thon, all that stuff. Every
yeah.
year you'll find like a time when they do
0.9
like 0.9
interest rates. You know, they'll
Oh,
offer
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I-
to try to stimulate people to buy cars.
Every couple of years,
Yeah.
my father-in-law buys a new Ford
Oh,
F-350.
whenever I'm shopping, I
when
try
it's-
and wait for something like that.
Absolutely.
And he'll wait, right? He'll wait for the
Yeah, he'll wait for the
Perfect.
best interest rate on the deal.
1% or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
Nearly nothing down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Often.
It's great.
It's next to
I think he just actually did it this year. He traded in a 2-year-old Super Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a new one coming.
Yeah.
nice.
You know,
Yeah. If you get a low
That's
interest
a
rate.
good trade. Those new Super Dukes are really nice.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
So
car.
anyway, it didn't really work out the way they had planned for multiple different reasons. So would they do it again? I don't know.
It'll be harder with all the battery tech.
Well,
That would be-
well, I
because they
think
would
that's
have
what
to
they're trying to
offer
do.
that,
I
too.
think, like I said, I think
Yeah,
they would
a
try to
gas
get the
buyback.
gas out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ice
And
engine.
honestly, there's a lot of gas cars. Go ahead and trade those fuckers in. You know, there's just a lot of, what did you call it last time? Pedestrian or just general traffic, right?
Yeah. Normal traffic.
Normal traffic on the
Yeah.
road.
Nissan Altima.
Yeah.
Just
Sure.
blends in.
Sure,
It does,
that
absolutely.
fits
Just
right
blends
in.
in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good driving car. I get that as a rental pretty often.
No, and I'm fine with them.
Yeah.
They work for me. They're nothing
Yeah.
special,
Nothing special.
Yeah.
but they work.
Yeah.
Most people look at a car like an appliance,
Well, they are.
and they are an
A
appliance.
lot of people, you're
Yeah.
all right. A lot of people,
So,
that's it's just
nobody
a day-to-day
cares.
thing
Nobody,
to have. To
nobody
get you
cares
from
how
point
it
A to
looks.
point
They don't care about the color. They're just wanting to drive to work and home and go to the bar and whatever they do.
Yeah.
So like they don't care.
Right.
It could be blue, white, gray. They don't care.
Yeah. It takes a special person to be a car project guy and that kind of stuff. You know, that's what we're here about. But we talk about everything anyway. You
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
The whole economy of cars.
Yeah,
Really.
and I
It's a
do
big
believe
subject.
the only time we would see the government put money into it is to get rid of more ice
Yeah,
engines.
and that's kind of sad. I mean, not necessarily because, like we said, the general regular traffic is pretty bland anyway.
Right.
But I don't really want to see more electric crap on the road.
Me neither. Just
It's-
because it's not, it doesn't really. The range sucks.
Yep.
The price to fix them when you wreck them. Have you seen
Oof.
the body?
Whew.
Oh my god,
Wow.
man! It's
I
like
heard-
a Rivian, with a fender bender. It costs
Yeah.
like $40,000 to fix.
Yeah, any of it, right?
Dude, I can't-
Well, those
I
are
don't
very
want that.
specialty cars too. Like the Rivians are they're not.
They look good,
What's the word?
I don't hate
Or
'em.
they're low quantity,
right? It's a
Manufacturing.
rare
Yeah.
car,
sort of.
It has to
we do
become
see a lot of
available
low
to the
production.
Yeah, low production.
It has to come to the everyman. You
Yeah.
know, and that's the big
They're pretty
issue.
Well, and they're
expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
Exactly, they're $70,000
Yeah,
for like the mid-level one,
Yep.
and
So-
they do look good. I won't lie. I think the truck looks good.
yeah. I
Mhm.
kind of like those.
Yeah,
The
but
looks of them.
when
But
you
again,
wreck it,
the range
it
thing.
costs half the price.
So,
the price
I
of
heard-
for a fender bender.
Yep.
I heard an interview with the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Isn't that a comedian?
No, Chris
That was
Farley.
Chris Farley.
That's his brother or something like that.
Oh,
His
that was a
cousin or
joke.
something. No. It was really good, and he did talk about the electric revolution and that kind of stuff and what they're trying to do. And I don't want to misquote him, so it's better if y'all just go kind of look that up.
I will.
There's it's on the Smoking Tire podcast.
I
Okay.
love that.
I believe
I like
it's-
those guys. Matt
yeah,
Farah.
they're
They're
good
great.
dudes.
Yeah.
But
Can't wait
he
to have
was-
him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So they were talking about how Ford's viewing the electric revolution, right? And how he envisions it. And it's more of the diesel electric. So
Mhm.
you've got a motor. They're more, what is it? Hybrid, right?
Right. It's a hybrid technically.
Yeah, technically. So they've got a diesel generator powering
that
electric
powers
motors.
the batteries
It's fantastic. So
that's
like,
how it should be.
You know, their trucks are going to do 120 miles around town without the gas, without diesel, whatever. Especially local delivery is really good for that because they go to a home base every night and they can charge overnight. They're going to use very little fuel.
Yeah.
But that same vehicle, and they're talking about fleet vehicles like F-450s, bigger trucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. That's
trucks
really
like
what we
use.
Yeah.
Yes, trucks like we use in our industry or towing our car trailers and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So, but if you want to take a trip, you've got that diesel generator in there, and you can go 700 miles on a single tank of gas.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
Yep,
that's the technology that I want. I don't want to have to stop and charge for an hour anywhere.
This whole idea of all electric doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Not right now.
No.
I'm not saying it's not feasible or possible.
Right.
But right now, in our certain, in the society we live in, the structure, the infrastructure, all of it, it just doesn't make sense.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's... we've definitely delved into the electric stuff, and I don't like getting too deep into it because it's such a massive topic. And
there's like 6 episodes on it.
I know. I'm very opinionated on it.
It's a big topic for car guys.
It really is. Yeah. But
no matter what happens, as time goes forward, it will be a topic that will continue to come up. And
you'll have to. You have to talk about it because it's out there, and people are converting sports cars to electrics.
There's badass hybrids.
There really is. There's some really cool shit.
What's going to be interesting is when our conversation shifts from electric at some point to hydrogen builds. Because they are testing and going that route.
Oh,
yeah, but it's still an ICE engine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're still running an internal combustion engine off of hydrogen, which is incredible. It's so efficient. It's so clean.
Yep.
And, the whole idea is for public use is like, so there's this very popular, it's like a noir book called Fuel from Water. And it's a great book. But it basically, the idea is instead of going up to fill up your tank at a gas station of hydrogen, having this giant pressurized tank on board, you separate the hydrogen from oxygen on board. And you have a small filler tank and you separate it into a small tank and you put it right into the engine. Mm-hmm. That is the most efficient way to run hydrogen.
And safest way.
Yet it costs nothing besides, deionized water.
Yeah.
So nobody, I'm not going to get too conspiracy, but like big oil, big fuel, they don't want that to happen.
No, I agree.
So,
and
but guys have done it.
You have to consider that, as far as the manufacturing, these big companies, they want to make their profits.
Exactly.
And if they see a technology that is not good for their business, you bet they're going to put the brakes on any way they can.
Right.
And like you said, you don't want to get too conspiracy, but you're dumb if you think that doesn't happen.
All right. And I've followed some forums and I've seen pages where like the farm guys are doing this.
Yeah.
They built their own separators. They're doing it.
That's what
you have to buy this crazy rod of like,
plutonium.
It's basically like a high-end metal.
Yeah.
And you can build a separator.
Interesting.
Actually, on that point, without going too far in the rabbit hole.
Okay.
For example, diesel, the guy who invented the diesel engine, was making it popular, I believe. Up till recently, it was like this year, last year. There's now articles and books written about that they believe he died of mysterious methods of a drowning on the ship. And there's now strong evidence to show that they think that it was actually an assassination.
Yeah. And
it was either from the prince, and this was the guy who died that caused World War I, and I should know this, I can't remember, was either due to him or was due to the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
Because having diesel threatened the oil economy because it was using, instead of changing the oil to gasoline and byproducts, it was taking a giant industry with it.
And it was the same thing with the hydrogen separation. Stanley Meyer was his name. He had a water-powered car. He drove it around the country. He's infamous at this point. Mm-hmm. But he drove around showing people, hey, I built this separator.
And he mysteriously disappeared, yeah?
Yeah. Because he's like, hey.
There's a couple of instances
if you invest in these few parts and build a separator to my plans, you can run a car on deionized water.
I think there's actually a documentary out
There
there about him that I watched years ago.
Yeah.
Well, dude, let's look at it like
Crazy shit.
this. If in the 90s, with the GM1 or whatever that car was, the first GM electric car, you guys remember that
Yes.
thing?
Yeah.
It was insane. They leased it to people for 4
Yeah.
years, I think 4
Yep.
years. People loved it.
Yep.
They got a ton of good feedback, all electric, and they wouldn't let them buy them. And then they took them back and crushed them all.
Yep.
They crushed them all.
Just like the turbine
Why?
car. Send it to the crusher.
I thought there was like a dozen that were left that saved.
There's still a few.
Yeah, there's
there?
a few. Yeah,
There's one
They're
at
very
the
rare.
Peterson Auto Museum in LA.
Yeah.
It's still there, and it's in immaculate shape, and you can look in there, and it's beautiful. But I just find it funny because now they're like, hey, now this is what you need to buy. But back in the 90s, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to take these back because people like them too
Technology
much.
was probably
And,
better too.
well, and electricity was cheaper, Rob.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. But it was cheaper compared to today's economy. Is
Right.
it, how is it
Relative.
relative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It, it probably still is cheaper because our pay hasn't kept up with the pace of.
People wanted to buy them
Inflation.
outright, and they said no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. We got deep.
We did
into
the
that.
rabbit hole.
Rabbit holes.
Sorry.
You car guys out there. Oh my God. I hope you're still there. Build yourself a.
Maybe digging so far they'd be
De-ionizer
finding
and-
fossils in amber down
I mean,
there.
that's a project. That's a car project. If you, take that on.
Yeah,
Build yourself a hydrogen hot rod.
Oh,
yeah.
please.
We talked about that
Please.
last.
I know it.
I'd
podcast.
love to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm excited for that tech.
So I
Be
did have
interesting.
another topic.
Do tell.
I,
Do tell. I'm listening.
I know you.
They're
are.
listening.
It could be.
We're all listening.
Could be a long one.
Okay, we log one.
Okay.
So here we go.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, it doesn't.
So,
Oh, then my hands
Sean's
will
gonna
stop.
crack another beer, so we're good. We're good. So we had talked about concept cars a bit. We touched on concept cars
The
here.
day I forgot my books.
We don't have time to look through books.
Okay.
Pages and pages and pages of words.
Yes.
Yeah.
And pictures.
Concept cars that they rarely make it to see the light of day.
Mhm.
And I don't know, there's some pretty famous ones out there. I mean, even like the turbine car that we've talked about a couple of
Yes.
times. They built 55 of those.
Is that considered a concept car even
Is
though
that a
day?
Chrysler?
It was. Yeah, it was a Chrysler.
Yeah, I love
turbine.
that car.
Yeah.
Great car.
It was a concept, even though they gave it to the general public to try it out and drive it, just like
Yeah.
the GM with the GM1, right?
I love that. Yeah.
So
the
they gave
GM1, exactly.
Yeah, they gave it out to the public, and this was in 1955.
Mhm.
Go drive it, give us your feedback, blah, blah, blah.
They were doing the testing. They were doing the beta
were doing
testing
the
for
testing.
them to figure out.
100%. It was a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
But then they brought them all back, and they crushed them.
Yep.
They sent them to the crusher, all but 9. And it blows me away, too. For a car guy, it's just like, why? Why would you do this?
Especially if you had good feedback.
Yeah. Anyway, what other cars are out there that barely made it? Like, there's one-offs of these cars. I think after the 60s-ish, they were still crushing concept cars
Oh, yeah.
to a degree, but there's some of those that skated through. They had 1, 2,
The-
maybe 3 of them.
The one
yeah.
I want to know
I
if
got
it
a number 3. I got a 3-car car for you.
What is it?
I'm not trying to cut Grant off.
Good. The one I want to know if concept car actually still exists, and Rob, you probably know this one.
Yeah.
If the Ford GT90 still exists, or they crush it.
Gorgeous
It still
car.
exists.
It does.
Gorgeous
Yes.
car.
Okay,
What a
I
good
see
call.
There
I
is
see
at
videos
least-
of it, but
yeah.
I've never heard any numbers on it. I never heard. There's no barely any info on that car.
I think they maybe made 2.
It's in a museum. I've seen the video of it. He still has it.
And it runs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it runs.
It
yeah.
does. It's a really cool car,
Oh,
but it
they're
does still
gorgeous.
exist. I'm trying to think. I think it's in Detroit,
Mm.
honestly. The museum. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's in. It is not a Ford, quote unquote, Ford museum. It's just a
Like a private collection.
sort of.
Okay,
It's on loan to them.
interesting.
Yeah. So, but yes, it does still
Because
exist.
that's
And that
That's
was
a great call.
That's
Yeah,
one of the cars.
that's one I think should have.
Wasn't it a
baffles me.
V12?
It was a V12
Yeah.
quad turbo
hmm
car.
I don't know that it should have gotten to production. When you look at it, when you
Yeah.
see the video of it, like they do a pretty thorough walk around of it.
Yeah.
It's a neat car, but
It's a niche car.
that too. But
It
you
wa-
can tell. You can tell it was a concept. It was not
Refined.
right.
Yeah,
Very
but
good.
if it
Good
had
word
some
for
more
it, yeah.
time, because here's the thing is the GT Ford or the GT that came out in 05 and 06.
Yeah.
That was I don't know if the whole room could agree with this, but that was the in my opinion, the successor of the GT40.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they did a great job.
The
with
GT90, I don't think would have been a successor.
Yeah.
But I think if it was refined, I could see it saying like a GT badge of some kind.
Well, not only
It
that,
would've
but
been
it would have been a
interesting.
really good Diablo fighter.
Yeah.
Or something.
Agreed.
But America wasn't interested in even trying at that point. They didn't have any competition in there, and then people started loving supercars.
Well, like in the 90s when that was out.
It was kind of built in the wrong time.
I agree.
I disagree. In the early 90s is when we had all the supercars. That's when we had the Dodge Viper. That's when we had the Jaguar XJ220, the McLaren F1,
Right.
the Bugatti EB10.
Ford
No,
wasn't
I
interested
agree with,
in
but
that.
Ford wasn't making their money off that.
Right.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ford was not interested in competing in that market.
Yeah.
And that's why, when they had a rolling chassis, they had a drivable car because it still drives. They scrapped it. They're just like, nah, we don't want to compete.
So I have a couple concepts I've loved over the years, and I'll touch on it quickly. The first one, because it's a supercar, the Cadillac CN. You remember that?
Is that the long one that's like pointy at the back?
Yeah, it was in a movie.
Yep.
I think it was in a big movie in the early 2000s. It was a 16-cylinder mid-engine
Oh my god!
car.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous car.
I'm going to pull a picture.
And they made like 5 of them. And there's still a couple running around. As a Cadillac CIEN.
CIEN. What type of name?
Gorgeous car.
I think I misspoke Cadillac. I'm not sure.
So yeah, I mean, they're freaking awesome. Look at this thing.
Oh,
I think it was in a
that is
Minority
awesome.
Report.
Wow, that's a very
Yep, that's what I was
crazy.
thinking
It's
of.
crazy
that,
car.
that thing would
Great.
compete in today's market.
It
Yeah.
would, and
Yeah.
I think so too. And it had a mid-engine V16 or something. It was crazy.
Mhm.
But as far as concept that came out that I think should have been put in production for sure, in 2012, Chevy, again, I'm Chevy. You guys know how much I love them. Put out this one called the Code 130R. And
130R.
what I like about it was they made it as a direct competitor to the Subaru BRZ, the FRS.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
And they made 3 of them.
it looks.
And it almost
it's
looks like a
got-
BMW 1 Series,
I was
right?
going to say it's got Audi.
Yeah, it's got
Oh, wow.
Audi. But it was smaller than the
okay. Was it?
BRZ.
Yeah.
I have to
Ooh,
say,
that's
from that
really
angle,
compact.
from the angle it looks more like, okay, that's different, because the angle where it's down low, I thought it looked like a Mach-E.
So no, this is tiny.
Yeah,
This is
but
a
I was like,
small
the
car.
second photo, yeah, I mean, it does
they-
have hints of like a Camaro, the new Camaro.
It does.
one, though.
No, they definitely carried it over to the new
Interesting.
Camaro.
Yeah.
But I loved the tall greenhouse
Mhm.
where it was like tall and straight, probably good visibility.
Yeah.
They made a gray one, they made a blue one, they made a red one, and they made them for the Tokyo Auto Show, LA Auto Show, and it was all in 2012. And they told all these reporters and everybody, like auto people, they're like, we're building this,
Yeah.
and we might call it the Nova. And so I was like, man, that would be sick. And they almost did, and they pulled the plug on it. But that's my favorite concept ever.
Yeah.
Out of the last 15 years.
One that I thought was. Go ahead. You got
I
something?
was gonna say I got one, and it may not be
Yeah, let's go
everybody
for it.
might agree on it, but the I'm a big Pontiac guy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and the GTO concept car.
You got a picture of it,
Is that
John?
the one that was
I
based off like
just
the
looking at
Holden? Is it that one?
It's based off like the 4th or 5th gen Camaro.
Oh yes, I have seen this.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be great.
I really when I started seeing those,
That's
I was like, I
gorgeous.
really like.
Well, I mean, you
those.
gotta,
Yeah, that's
you
beautiful.
gotta, you gotta think GM had all the parts to do it. Just change up the front and
Basically,
nose cone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
should- and
That's
when
a
you
really
started
good-looking
seeing, some of these cars come out, like the new Camaro and the Mustangs and the Challengers, like the Challengers really hit the mark. I'm an old muscle car guy.
Yeah.
And the Challengers, like if you look at them, they really hit the
They
mark.
did a good job with that car.
On
I
kind
think
of being
so.
that retro
I mean,
style.
I agree.
And
I agree.
The Camaros don't really look like the old Camaros. The Mustangs.
I disagree. I think the Camaros are very reminiscent of the
They're
67 to
reminiscent.
69.
I agree
Yeah.
with
They
that
did
gen.
pretty
Yes,
good with that body line and in an updated style.
I agree.
I think the Challenger, like you're saying, is a lot closer
Yeah.
to the original while still being updated. And they also did a very good job.
The problem with the Challengers, they never really updated the chassis for 20 years. Or what was it, 15 years? I mean, they stopped making it now. It's a lot. They never changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From like 2007 till last
Why
year.
change a good thing?
Mhm.
That's true.
I mean,
I respect that.
Kind of. I mean,
it's
they
Converse.
kind of hit the mark, right?
But it was heavy and kind of outdated. It was a heavy chassis.
Car. And I don't know what their data set.
You're right, though. Why change it?
I don't know what their data set said. What market were they going for? It definitely was not high-end sports car.
No.
It's a muscle car, quote unquote.
Pony car.
It is, but it weighed an awful lot.
It weighed more than its counterparts.
Yes. If it would have gone 1,000-pound diet, it would have been a fantastic car.
I agreed with
instead
that.
of just a good car.
Yeah. Sean, do you know with that Firebird, what engine did they put in? Did you know?
I believe it was a 6.2 LS3.
Oh, that's a good motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, like I said, it was based on, the 5th gen Camaro body, and they just changed up some styling on it.
Yeah, made it look
a little bit more.
They should have done it like they did back in the day.
The problem with it is like the Camaro is more reminiscent of the Firebird. If you want to start going like for like,
it's true. The front end, I'll give you that.
And even the body styling of them. The GTOs were bigger. They were longer. They had the big quarter windows on them.
And not only that, but the front end cuts in.
Yeah.
And the Firebird always cut in like that. Yeah.
So
I'll give you that. That's true.
I think if we want to go concept on that, that's one of my of a newer generation.
It'd be cool. I'd love to see
absolutely
Firebird.
Yeah.
Especially if it looked like that. That was mean looking.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem with the concept cars that they show at the auto shows and whatever. It's like it gets everybody excited, and they're really a great looking car, and then it hits the road, and you're like, that is not the same car.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Chevy did what they did with the Co 130R. They got all this great feedback. Everybody was stoked on it. They said we're going to build it, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
Come on.
For whatever reason.
Why?
Pulled the plug on
You built 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the best. I think the best example. I'm trying to remember is the best example of here's what it looks like, and then what you really get was the Toyota Supra.
Yes.
That was originally called the FT1.
Yep.
And that is a mean looking car. That's the FT1 I'm showing. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah.
Just a lot more intakes, a lot more aggressive, and we get the
wider,
Supra, wider, lower. I mean, and what we got was it looks like that, but just kind of went on the McDonald's diet for a hot moment and decided, let's take some shortcuts.
Yeah. Well, the sad part was that was a Toyota only concept, and then they teamed up with BMW, and they had to use a chassis, so they were limited to what they couldn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that hates on the Mark V Supra. I think it's a great car. I think that Toyota listened. They put the manual in it eventually. I thought that was cool. But, to make it look like the FT1 for a street car, they couldn't have gone with somebody else's input. Yeah. You'd have to just build it one off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got its pluses, right? It's kind of a cool car, but I was really disappointed in the BMW-esque rear end.
I agree.
I did not like that at all. I was like, come on.
It was really rounded.
Original.
It was really rounded, too.
The biggest disappointment about the Supra for me is Supra originally said in the original marketing campaign, because it has a bunch of fake fence all over it, and there's a lot of holes that are just empty and drilled there.
Yeah.
They said it's there for aftermarket support for people to add and take out these and put whatever and boost the economy and give jobs. You can't take a vent out if there's nothing behind it. It's covered completely, like a part of the actual panel. You can't add,
you could cut it out, I suppose.
But you're caught.
That's pretty serious.
Cutting an expensive car.
Exactly. Where it was supposed to be just bolt-on stuff.
Yeah.
And
it would be different if it was like a bolt-on cover where you just take some screws loose and.
So for me, it's like it's all the stuff that's added to make it look fast. If it's not functional, that's
kind of pointless.
Correct.
Okay.
Kind of like the side tangent, like the 4Runner. That whole front end on the new one with all the aggressive legs, all of it's fake.
Terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this last episode I was on. You weren't here, Grant, but
I listened.
Dude, I mean, come on. How many of those see you on the road?
Yeah.
Right.
And they all look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them are white.
Yeah.
Common traffic. All right, I want to bring up a couple because I went old concept stuff, older.
Cool. Okay. I love it.
So Pontiac XP833.
Was that like a rocket pointy one?
It's a Corvette.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
It's a Pontiac, basically a Pontiac Corvette.
Oh, please.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like when Pontiac tried to, they had their Ventura.
I loved it with the
And-
Nova.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
a Nova
Yep.
with just
It
a
was a
different front
Nova.
ends.
Well, it was the same idea to what you were talking about with the Le Mans. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same
Different-
idea.
yeah,
They
different,
should have
but-
done it with the Corvette.
I mean, it's a gorgeous car.
It really is. It almost looks like the Opel. Remember the
Little bit.
Opel GT?
Yes. I actually like this better than the 70s, Gen 3
By
Corvette.
far.
Just because of, I like the front end opening, the bumper,
It looks like the Opel.
It's got that nice speed hump in the middle of the hood.
If you ask me, Pontiac has always been just
got some good
huge
designs.
on their designs and their
This
body
was-
styling is just.
This was
Pontiac
actually
was at
designed by
peak when
John
they made the
DeLorean.
Aztec.
Yeah. This car was designed by
You're
John
fired.
DeLorean.
That checks out.
Yeah, it does. So another one by Pontiac. Look up.
Did they say why that was never made? Was it literally because it was
Money. I
Well,
guarantee it.
direct competition to the Corvette?
This
Ticket
really
sales?
long article right here, it does say.
Okay, so I need reading. Got
Yes, yeah. It's a Motor Trend article. If you
Okay.
look up
What was the other Pontiac, Rob?
SP5 and SP6.
Which one was better?
it. SP would be special project, and then so that would be okay. Interesting.
I don't recall which one was better, so I'm just going to type it in and see what we get, because I wrote it down for some reason. And good radio, bro.
Yeah.
I
Not
couldn't.
fantastic.
I couldn't find an SP5. Oh, I see the SP5.
There we go.
Do you want to describe what it looks like for our listeners when you guys find it?
Yes, it
Okay.
looks like a Stingray,
Yep.
Like a modern Stingray or like a 60s Stingray?
like a 60s Stingray.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually, I know what it was. One was a convertible and one was a hardtop.
Okay.
And
It's a good looking car.
So the XP833 was the concept that then spawned the SP5 and the SP6.
Mm-hmm.
None of them ever made it to market.
Shocker.
They
Wow.
are the same car, basically. So they're a Corvette Stingray in a Pontiac badge.
Yeah.
Basically.
So did they not make it to market anywhere?
Yeah.
Because
correct.
I and I don't know all the ins and outs on it, but I know like
Correct.
say for that Pontiac Ventura,
Mhm.
I don't know if they ever made it to market in the U.S., but I think they were sold in Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
you
That
know?
could be. Yeah.
So,
These never made it to market, period,
okay.
to my recollection of the article.
Hmm.
They also came out with a 4-seat version.
Really?
Yeah, so if you look up the XP798, it is the 4-seat version of that same car.
That's
which is
fascinating.
It is kind of, right? I mean, Corvette never did that. They never,
Yeah.
for good reason, really.
I mean, what would be if you were to build a 4-seater, a 4-seater or 4-door?
4-seat. So
Okay.
it's a 2-door. Here it is.
Okay, it's a
right
2-door
here.
still. Because I was gonna say,
It's very long.
yeah.
And it's really
What
kind
would
of
be
sleek.
your competitor then for that?
almost
Like a
Camaro.
car built like that?
Camaro.
It's almost got the
Yeah.
like
Mustang.
Corvette length,
Right.
with a Firebird front end.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, the grill is very Firebird.
Yeah.
Same on the SP5 and 6. They have that similar. It's pointed down at the ground a little bit more, but it's much like that. So yeah, this one, the 798, its concept, I think it still exists in a museum somewhere. I don't think they crushed it. Really kind of a cool car. Really long hood.
Yeah.
Super long hood.
Yeah.
I mean, they were kind of into that back in the late 60s,
Making boats.
early 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking out over like a 7-acre hood,
Mhm.
anticipating that turn.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pretty darn cool, though.
Nice.
Never made it into production, which is kind of I don't know. Pontiac was a weird deal, right?
Yeah.
They were part of the GM group, purchased by GM in 1918, I believe.
Was that early? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was purchased really early. In fact, most of GM bought Chrysler, Pontiac, Chevrolet, all of those in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So they were a conglomerate really early on.
I wonder when Chevy had like the most companies. If it was the 60s or like in the 90s,
actually-
2000s. Because like they owned a bunch then,
Yeah.
like Hummer and Isuzu, but in
And
the
still
60s
do.
they owned a bunch too. So I
Yes.
wonder which, and when it's tough when you're on a company like that, it's like,
They're huge.
yeah, but like as an umbrella company, you have to have it so your own company will not compete against itself.
Mhm.
That's again why that probably the Pontiac Corvette didn't come out because it's going against your flagship.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, how do we market this as a lesser Corvette? And then why would people buy the lesser one? And then it's like, okay, so.
But they still do that kind of stuff. They still put out the Firebird and the Camaro, right? They did.
They did.
At those times.
Yeah.
And they're competing against their own brand.
Yeah.
So, I mean, putting out a Pontiac Corvette looking-esque thing wouldn't be too surprising for whatever reason. And I think that did have something to do with it. Like, they didn't want competition for the Corvette. They wanted that to be the pinnacle of car. And since GM owned the entire umbrella, they could put a stop to it.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
So, I got a couple more.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the one I thought was interesting was the original Mustang concept.
I was just going to say the Mustang won.
The Mustang won.
Yes.
And
that car still
there's
exists.
people who love it or people who hate it. And it's interesting how...
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if that's how the Mustang would have came out. I don't think it would have been this popular if it came out that way.
I agree. It's not as good looking as the Mustang is. It's very different.
I think it's because the Mustang is... From back then, you could either love or hate, but they had multiple options and different styles. But having the style, because it was mid-engine, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah, and being
small,
Yep. It's kind of like choosing: would you rather have the Miata or the MR2? You know, two different kind of thought process behind it.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been cool to have a series of them, but maybe not the main Mustang. It would be interesting to see a world where we live in where that became Mustang's flagship.
They're trying it now because they've got the Mustang Mach-E and the Mustang.
That's a skateboard, not a mid-engine.
And the Mustang
GT3 or GTR.
GTD. Which is ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
I just looked up this Mustang
1. Yeah.
It's
way different, right?
I think I would agree. I don't think it would have gone as far.
I don't think it gone there. It's very. I think it's good looking, but I don't think the general public would have been is attached to it. I think there would have definitely been a following for it, but not as big as it is now.
I think you're being pretty generous even saying that it's good looking. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It's unfinished. Again.
That too.
It's another unfinished because it is a concept. It's not refined yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
The one that I was surprised that wasn't made, here's another concept car I was surprised, was the Lamborghini Gallardo Concept S. And I got a picture of it up here in a second. So the reason I'm surprised that wasn't actually a concept, of course I take a screenshot, was because Lamborghini typically makes a small amount of cars. So if you're building a concept, especially with a big company, what ultimately comes down why you don't build these cars? Comes down to tooling, comes down to facilities, comes down to what parts are available for it. If you have a wacky car that you can build and have really cool looking, can't build it if you got no factory. Can't build it if it doesn't have shared parts. What's how much money do you have to sink into it just to have the assembly line going down?
And I feel like that was at a time where Lamborghini was in their struggles. They hadn't got bought by Volkswagen yet. They did. Okay.
This was in Lamborghini's heyday. The Gallardo came out in 2003, and they already had the Murcielago. This concept came out in 2008.
Right.
And the difference on this one is, do you have a picture of it?
This one here?
Yeah, the Concept S.
It's the S.
That one.
Yeah.
So why that one is different is because the passenger and driver are separated by two separate pods while still being based on the Lamborghini Gallardo body.
Yeah.
And being such a niche company, as a supercar company, if those kind of companies can build the one-offs because it doesn't make much tooling because all are still by my hand, or it's you have your main platform like Gallardo and just, parts of it are changed. Not 90%. You got maybe a 20% or 15%. I personally think why that didn't work is because having two separate passenger and driver is too separated of a thing, but I think it's a very cool looking car.
It's an interesting concept and car. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's why it didn't work.
Because Lamborghini did some crazy stuff in 2014, I think, the Veneno.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. What, they make 5 of them?
3
of them.
3 of them.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
To make 3 cars. And it is the most aggressive looking car I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but those are based also off the Aventador.
Yeah, that's true. It's the same chassis.
But the other thing that was interesting was they originally made for the Gallardo Concept S, they originally planned on making 100 of them and only made 2 of them. And that was what's crazy is at the time...
Scrapped it.
Yeah. Lamborghini announces something, people are going to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Actually...
Or it's even built.
You know what? No, as I'm talking, I'm taking it back because you know what also happened in 2008?
economy crashed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder if that had a factor on it.
I'm sure of it.
But
Yeah.
uber wealthy, I don't know. They're still going to buy it.
True.
Yeah, but
True.
it's hard to know.
Who knows why they scrapped it?
Yeah.
I would love to know why.
Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to concept cars that come from the very smaller niche, like Ferrari, they have a bunch of concept cars, and they make a lot, especially in the 50s, 60s, where boutique dealership where they would build
one-offs.
One-offs of that.
Yeah.
And those aren't concept cars they built to production, but they did have eventually concept cars they did build, which they didn't actually build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see because like the company has the ability to. When you're not having a gigafactory that has to stamp out things and you're building all by hand, why were these never built? Did it come down to it didn't meet performance standards? Did it not come down to
Sales.
your styling, your sales?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Ferrari, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I saw a really cool, I think it was a Top Gear episode about Ferraris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. So their records,
Mm-hmm.
their record keeping, they like showed where they store all the records, and they're all paper records for all their vehicles. It's awesome. Like they have every single record of every single car they've ever made.
Yep.
Everything they put into it, exactly how it was built. It's
Very that's impressive.
What I couldn't believe is they go down to detail where, for example, the first Ferrari ever built, there are still specs and blueprints of how that was made.
Yes, they still have the blueprints.
And the first Ferrari, 166M, 1947, serial number 2, was actually bought by Ralph Lauren and converted back to the S1 or the 120S for original because when they raced them back in the day with the 120S, they needed to sell race car or street cars. Mm-hmm. So they converted that race car to a road car and sell it so they got money for the next car.
Right.
So that car Ralph Lauren bought the blueprint. I believe it was Ralph Lauren. Bought the blueprints from Ferrari and rebuilt that car from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he have them do it though?
I'm not sure on that one. I think so.
Yeah.
On a crazier story on that same level, for example, I know the owner of the who owns the second Ferrari ever built, the oldest intact Ferrari, or he used to. He recently sold it. Anyways, I was told the story when they sold that, they had to bring a Ferrari Master Tech to come in and verify a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And the level of Ferrari that has a detail of their cars that are built. One of the things they had to do to this car, which is insane but understandable, they had to drill the firewall out to prove it was a certain thickness. Because with these cars, you think if you make a really damn good replica and try to sell it off that someone's never seen, say this was the original.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking hundreds of millions or crazy money. But the fact that Ferrari has a record saying the firewall was this thickness, this needs to be tested is a testament to what their record keeping.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And their records are down to like this particular car had, I don't know, a measurement. Their say steering rack was this long, but the next one they changed it so it was this long, so they could measure these certain elements of the car to verify which one it actually was.
Like each of the 39 Ferrari GTOs that were ever built, like this, every single one. Left to right is different by like a couple millimeters or inches and stuff because they were all hand built.
Right. It's
so
So we're gonna move on from Ferrari. Okay. Do you know what a Mustang Mach-2 looks like?
Never seen it.
I want to say
it's
yes.
A concept car.
Check it out.
1967 Mustang Mach-2.
Oh wow!
See, I like that.
That does not look like a Mustang.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It almost has some like the early GT40.
Yes.
Styling.
And
GT40,
almost
Pantera.
And even like Superbird vibes. Like a little bit on the
kind
front
of
end.
that long front end.
Yep.
Yeah, that long pointy front end. And it's not like
so could
European
you imagine if
feeling.
Mustang went down this road?
I think we'd have a different Mustang
we
today.
would have a way different Mustang today. You're on.
What's up? I know.
Oh, okay.
It almost looks like you guys ever seen the Bricklin SB1? Okay, so it was a mass-produced, like, poor man's supercar, but that front end kind of reminds me of the Bricklin SB1.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that.
So, I know that this topic was going to be, like, super deep. We're
going to need a part 2 for this.
Yeah, for sure.
So I got multiple cars to bring down for it.
There's so many good ones, and I did kind of go down the Mustang road, and the Cougar. Look up a Cougar, too.
I just have to look on Tinder for that.
I gotta look at that.
1965
I'm a
Cougar
fan
2.
too. 1965?
Yeah, very different. There's a Mustang Milano. There's
I've seen that.
there's just some crazy stuff.
Yeah. The Lamborghini Cheetah.
Oh, yeah.
The original
Lamborghini
Hummer.
Bravo.
I haven't heard of the Bravo. I know the Cheetah.
1974 Lamborghini Bravo concept.
Interesting.
Anyway,
We'll look at that later. We'll have
we'll
part
dive-
2 is coming soon.
I agree. Yeah, we'll dive into that some more.
Mhm.
So, Sean, I got a question for you.
What do you got?
What car for you, if somebody offered it to you, keys in hand, is a hard no? You're like, nope, can't drive it, walking away.
All right, so I've listened to a bunch of your guys' podcasts.
Sure.
Now,
Yeah.
and I am on board with the PT Cruiser.
Okay.
You know how
So
many
I-
more of those I see now that this has been a thing?
Now that
It's
you're talking
eye-opening.
I
about
see them
it,
all the time.
How about a Vert? You seen a Vert yet?
no.
All right.
But I'm gonna go with the newer VW Bug.
Thank you.
Oh,
Interesting.
I don't feel like any self-respecting man should sit in one
Oh,
of
I
those.
know.
Even the
I
turbo
know somebody that drives
version?
one of
No.
those.
Is it
Or
based
Baja
on
version?
Yeah, so do I. Is it based on just men then?
Is it okay for?
I mean, maybe
like, a
that's. I
cute-
shouldn't have said
a
it
cute
that
20-year-old
way.
to drive
Well,
it.
you know, no,
Okay.
no, they're
All right,
just
well,
god awful
okay.
ugly.
All right,
They
then.
should have never hit the market. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about them.
Okay.
I just
You don't think they hold kind of old Porsche vibes or anything? 'Cause
No,
I've heard
I
guys
just-
say that.
no.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't see that.
Do you think those cars should have been rear engine like the original ones instead of front engine?
Oh, come on. Of
I don't think
course.
they should have ever been made.
Okay.
They're
But
not
if
rear
they,
engine?
but
No, they're
if,
front.
But if they were,
But if
Yeah.
they
they're front
were,
I had
engine,
no idea.
if they were rear engine, I'd have a lot more respect for
I
them.
would agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I
too,
could see that.
Yeah.
You'd have more respect, but they're still just ugly.
Yeah.
What
I just-
could they have done to that car to make it not so repulsive?
Throwing the plans in the trash.
just not done it.
just
period.
not done it.
Okay.
That was a 100% fail.
All right.
Okay,
You
I
know,
agree.
So-
the guy that put it out there should be fired.
I gotta
Yeah.
agree.
Wait,
I gotta
so
agree.
then which is worse? A coupe or convertible?
Cooper
Like-
convertible or a
Yeah.
PT Cruiser?
No, no. Of a Volkswagen Bug.
We know the
Okay.
answer. to
If
that.
you had to choose the lesser two evils, and which
That's
one
a-
is the worst one?
the convertible by far.
That's a tough one, man. But I
coupe.
still think
I thought you said Cooper
Oh, no.
convertible.
coupe
No,
or
no, no.
convertible.
Coupe
Yeah.
or convertible
Now I get
Beetle.
you. Now I
Yeah,
get
no,
you.
that's an easy. That's a no brainer. The convertible.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah,
It's a bathtub,
Well, yeah.
just like the PT
Just like
Cruiser.
the PT Cruiser.
Mhm.
Alienating every PT Cruiser driver everywhere.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
know.
guys.
I
I mean,
know.
I'm on board with the
Well,
PT Cruiser.
You know what the
like,
best part is?
Yeah.
If you were to give me a PT Cruiser, I'm taking it down to the farm. I'm gonna rally it up.
Oh, okay.
We're breaking it day one.
You're gonna
Yeah.
take
And it's
pictures
just-
of it jumping 4 feet over.
Yeah.
a
Drive it
track.
into
I-
the bonfire. That would be
and you
fun.
know, and I'd probably do
That
the
would be
same
really
thing with
fun.
a new Bug too. But
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's ending up in the trash can.
I will say this.
I like it.
I know
I'm on board.
I know for a fact we do have an avid listener who
Drives
loves PT Cruisers.
Really?
Nice.
And he has one.
Well, I
And
apologize.
he's watching this. He's
I'm-
making sure I'm not talking any stories about his PT Cruiser.
I'm not apologetic for it. Not
Sorry,
even in
man.
the least.
I'm apologizing
Sorry, dude.
because I'm a guest, but they're horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bug or PT Cruiser is your only way home. What do you drive?
My Subarus.
All right, I'm hoofing it.
Mhm.
I'm walking.
You know, military gave me a special ability to walk long distances.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Mhm.
You
All
know,
right. So, what 3 cars are on your list of you really want to drive it someday?
so I got 2 on there, and then I got one that's kind of offbeat.
Okay.
The GT40, hands down.
Hands down.
Original
Yeah.
GT40.
No, the newer ones.
Oh,
I mean,
so-
I would love
okay.
to drive the original.
The
Okay.
newest
newer
gen?
ones.
So like the
newest gen?
V6, or are we talking like the 0506?
It's the 0506. That's
Okay.
what
So
the,
the
what is
V8.
the V8.
V8, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Hands
It's a
down.
Great choice.
Yeah.
You know.
Super sick car.
What color?
Blue.
Blue
I
with
really
white.
like the blue with white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
The red with white is pretty
I'm
badass.
a fan of the
I'm
red
just
and white.
not a fan of red cars.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, but
the
reds
blue
go
with white-
faster though.
That Ford blue,
Yeah.
though. That
But I
Ford
feel
blue.
That's not a Ford blue. Like a Ford blue is a Shelby blue. There's
Yeah,
a
but if
difference.
you put that on the GT,
Yeah.
oof, man.
That would look great. The
Gorgeous.
original blue Shelby.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that, yeah.
Anyway,
that I really want the opportunity to drive one of the new like C8 Corvettes.
okay.
Base model
Any
Z6
trim?
or sorry Z6.
I'm not a big Corvette guy, so I don't know what all the models are.
Okay.
But whatever the fastest one they have is.
Wait, in 20 more days, and the ZRL or the ZR1's coming out.
Yes, it is.
Twin turbo V8 flat plane.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, hopefully
It's going to be a beat. Well, that's what we hope.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's got I don't know what year it is, but she's got a Stingray. It's probably 7 or 8 years old.
Mhm.
Those are great.
And
C7?
she gave me
Great.
the opportunity to drive it, and it was pedal to the floor, sideways anywhere I could get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and she just gave me the opportunity to open it up and have fun.
Nice.
And ruin her tires.
Well,
Tires are replaceable.
in her position, money's not really an object, so
Okay,
she
perfect.
just said, "Go beat it up, have fun."
All right.
Yeah.
She got room for one more?
Well, it's 2 seats.
Tell you, if
You
you'd have
know?
come up last week, 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
My bad.
So, and this is my offbeat one because it's not really a car, but this is one thing that I've always wanted to get behind is one of the Abrams A1 tanks.
Yes. So much yes.
I just want to crush some shit.
Yeah. It's not stop. You going anywhere you want to. You want to go through a building, you're going through the building. You know?
Yeah.
That thing's in your way, you're going to move it out of the way.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
You're not going to move it out of the way. You're going to go over
I
it.
think they started that saying because it was built like a tank.
Yeah.
And that was the
Well,
one.
and I tried to buy a tank about 10 years ago.
Really?
I'm sure you did, Sean.
Yes. It was on Craigslist. And back when Craigslist was really a thing, guy put a tank up. He had it in his field, and
You get there and just an excursion?
No, he would never respond. And I'm one of those guys where I'll message you once, and if you get back to me on, cool.
Yeah.
I probably sent that guy 40 messages. I don't care
Just
how much you
ghosted,
want
huh?
for this thing. I will buy it.
Wow.
And I talked to my wife about it.
I wonder
and-
if he just got blown up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
How much do you want for it?
It was like it started out low. It was
Yeah.
like $4,200.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, and it was just
Do you know what it was? Like model?
no, it was not. It was a old like World War II tank.
Yeah,
So it was smaller. It was smaller than what they have now.
that's all right.
He probably
But
posted
it had a diesel engine in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been demilled.
Did it run?
So, no. It was sitting in his field.
That's fixable.
But that was my thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I can fix it. And then even to go further and beyond that, I'm like, well, we can demill the barrel on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we can't shoot a projectile through it, but can we make it like a large potato gun?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Potato launcher.
Like have some fun with
I
it.
believe you
Absolutely.
could.
Yeah.
And even something that's ran off like compressed air or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I talked to my
Pneumatic.
wife, and my wife was like, "What in the hell are you going to do with a tank?"
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's gonna be fun.
I'm like, exactly. I'm like, I don't know, but do you know anybody else with a tank?
Yeah,
I'm like, because I don't.
yeah.
I
I want one.
and that kind of just sparked my interest in it. So yeah, I would love to. Well, I would love to own a tank just for my own.
Honestly, that's really
That's
cool.
You know what I mean?
awesome.
But I'd
Yeah.
really love to drive one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
God, yeah.
Guy's probably on Facebook, and the whole time he's like, "There's a guy messaged me the entire time on he's tried to buy our water tank."
That's what
I think what happened, honestly, what I feel like happened is he put it on Craigslist for a low price. It was probably sitting in the field for years. I don't even, it could have been one of those dudes that bought the property and it was just sitting
Just
back
on
in the
there, yeah.
backfield. And he probably just got blown up by everybody.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he did.
Because it's
Yeah.
not one of those things. It's not like you don't jump on Craigslist and type in Mustang GT and there's 300 cars for sale. You type in tank and there's one.
You type in tank,
Yeah.
and
On a good
And-
day.
On a good
You
day.
On a good day. And
Jump on there
you know,
and type in tank right now.
And so there was
Oh.
there was
what's
probably
Okay.
I'll
thousands
do it,
of
Rob.
people doing the exact same thing that I was doing. Like, I don't care what you're selling this for. I will
want it.
invest my life savings into this.
Yeah.
Just so that I can own it.
I like it.
I feel like if you type in tank on Google, we'll come up in this
Well,
Zuzu bulldozer.
Let's search the modern. Let's search the modern day
Yeah, the
thing. It's
marketplace.
marketplace.
So bad.
Marketplace. Yeah.
Marketplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know if Zuckerberg let you sell a
Okay.
tank
So
on-
first things we get, guys, are obviously fish tanks, turtle tanks.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna just search army tank.
Army tank. There we go. Army tank.
It'll probably come up some plastic miniature model
It's
from Warhammer.
it's RC.
Of course. Well,
Yeah.
you could drive it, but
Oh yeah, and then there's just like a deuce and a half. right? You can find a deuce and a half.
I wonder if it's possible to get those inflatable tanks like from World War II they use as decoys. You know what I'm talking about?
This is cool.
I do.
I wonder
a
if that's possible.
1951 BTR Sorakovka. It kind of looks like a tank, but it's got wheels.
You see?
Oh,
It's like
It's like a transport.
Oh,
transport.
But it looks pretty exotic.
tanky. Yeah.
Exotic.
Well, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Oh,
list.
wait. Here we go.
Did we find one?
Found one?
A
Found
tractor converted to a sort of tank.
Oh.
It's a
That's a real one.
snowcat.
That sounds
It's
like
a
somebody's got
snowcat.
Ooh, I would take a snowcat.
It's a
That'd be
snowcat
cool.
converted to a tankish thing.
Okay, last time that happened,
It's
They were not
it's
good for
20
the
grand,
neighborhood.
guys.
Yeah.
Who's got 20 grand?
Not for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh.
we're gonna finish this thing up.
Okay.
Last topic of the day.
Okay.
What cool car thing did you see this week? Anybody want to start? I got two.
Okay. You
Go
go.
ahead.
I'll start then.
Okay.
This last weekend at the autocross,
Mm-hmm.
the dude there with a Pontiac Solstice. Y'all know what that is, right?
Love them. Love them.
With the Z06.
Perfect.
Mm. And
427.
it was so clean, so well done, just beautiful.
Good swap.
Fit right in there.
Mm-hmm.
That made that car.
Oh,
It
yeah.
totally made that car. To hear that thing on track too,
I just
I
saw
was
one
like,
for sale.
that is freaking cool.
I just saw a 6.2
Yeah.
swap one for sale.
Oh, a 6.2.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Down in Texas. It was
Okay.
like 12. It wasn't expensive either. It was like 13
Wow.
grand.
Nice. That it made that car. It was very reminiscent of a Shelby Cobra because it's such a short, small wheelbase, you know. But then to hear that ripping 427 in there, I was like, that was awesome. I really
that's
liked it. He
cool.
did a great job. Beautiful car.
Yeah.
He redid the dash because the original gauges in there were really deeply set. So he covered it over and put flush-mounted gauges for his RPM and speedometer. And I think there was a couple other things in there built into the gauges, you know.
Was it manual?
Temperatures and stuff. Yeah, it's manual.
Oh, man. So
Yeah.
good.
So good. And hydro dipped the dash so it looked like carbon fiber. It was
Ooh,
really
that's
well
cool.
done. Super clean car. The only thing I don't like about the Solstice is it's a convertible. You get that in a coupe and put that Z06 in it.
So,
I'm
yeah,
in.
they made
make
him
it-
a coupe.
They
Yeah.
made a coupe.
Did they?
They're
Yeah.
very rare.
His was convertible, but
Yeah.
They did make him a
damn,
hard
it
top.
sounded so
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Ron,
How did it run?
oh, it was smoking.
Was it fast on the track?
Yes, it ran very well.
Okay.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only thing is, Grant, I wish they made the Saturn Sky in a coupe. Because I thought that looked like a way better car. Same chassis,
Oh, yeah?
right? Did you ever see the
I
Saturn
don't
Sky?
think so. I'm going to have to look it up.
So Saturn Sky was the same thing as the Pontiac Solstice,
Yeah.
but it was less round. It was more like edgy
Mm-hmm.
and cut in, and it actually looked a little wider to me. But they never made it in a coupe. They only made it in the convertible.
Interesting. I wonder if you got
Oh, yeah. It looks exactly the
if
same.
you got a
It's
Solstice.
exactly the
I
same.
wonder if you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
a Solstice and because they did make very, very limited coupes
They
and then
did.
swap the body.
Well, I mean, I love the Sky. I love the Sky looks. I want the hard top on the Sky.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
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 Rob, you want to show us? Let me see.
Oh, the Saturn?
Yay.
Yes. I do have a
It was the
picture.
best Saturn they
I've
ever
got,
made. I mean, my God, it was rear-wheel drive manual.
Yeah.
There it is. It looks exactly the same as
Yeah,
the
it
Solstice.
does.
It really does.
They were great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same car.
It was just a little better
Um,
looking.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get it with the turbo four-banger, just like the Solstice GXP or whatever.
Yeah, but it should have had a V8.
It should have.
Yeah. That's the one car I remember in high school. One of my friend's moms had a Solstice,
This is the
and I was
engine bay.
very surprised that had just a four-banger in it because that car
Looks
looked
very good.
Yeah.
more aggressive and sporty than the slow, four-banger that was in it.
Yes.
But-
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention the ZR1 coming out, but that's all right. Grant beat me to it.
Oh, it's okay.
And that was about the only car news I saw this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Mine was a kind of not a new car, but the coolest thing is someone posted on Facebook Marketplace a 1974 Fiat X19,
Oh, yeah.
and same year as my model, but
Yeah.
just everyone was commenting trying to save this car because it's so many, very few, and they won like $400 for it.
Really?
And the Fiat community, when it gets to the point where you have a 74,
Yeah.
and that price, they're really bad shape. This one was in the okay shape, probably could have been saved.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are looking for the parts because they're really hard to find. A 74 X19, John Ian, like 90% of them, the parts are just a hair different than every other year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At least from because I'm restoring a 74. I bought the 77 for a parts guy. Like, cool. The engine's the only thing the same. Everything else is just a hair minor difference.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
And
like,
so
like bolt placement, what?
Like, for example, the seats are very sought after because they're the only seats with the lowest padding in them. Because after 74, they made them thicker for more comfort, but then it makes it harder for a small car for anyone that's over like 6 foot to fit in them. So people want small ones. The biggest iconic thing of the 74 is the bumpers. After 75, they include in US the giant twin beam, high beam ones. On the 74s, they were small little ones that were only like size your hand that go around.
I love that.
Sure.
74 had chrome that went all the way around on little trim pieces. The interior had a different instrument cluster, different steering wheel. The side panel trim that was down by the instrument cluster was a T-bone style fluff of leather rather than a big foam thing of leather. It had a different brake separator for where that was mounted going through. It had different front little grill on the front that compared because the rest had the bumpers that went through. So the plastic on that one was different. The rear lid was different because it had heating issues. So that one was thinner to prevent it. The other ones were newer. It had a manual choke. So the carburetor was different. It had a lever for it. The interior had trim for that going through. I can go days and days about this car because I really built them. And let me tell you, when I first bought the car, I was not expecting to go that deep into it and finding it.
And then realizing
and you
what
stuck
you have,
with it?
like,
Well, because it was, I stuck with it. I still have it. I'm like probably 50% way of the restoration. It's a car I'm really taking my time because originally I bought it to put a V12 into it, stretch it, build it, and then not meet emissions because 74. I'm like, cool, I don't have to do a DQ. Right. Until I found out how rare it was. And I was like, I couldn't take myself to chop off something like that.
Totally changed directions.
I actually had the community because I was debating on what color. Mine was even the rare lime green, which was, according to the Fiat community, is the holy grail color, the combo I got. And I told him, I'm not used to it. I'm building back to original spec at 60 horsepower. I've never heard it run because I wanted to save that for when it's finally running, and driven it. I want to save that way for it going. And I told the community, I was like, as much as it looks decent and green, but if this is a car I want to look at every day, and I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy the speed, I want to at least look at it and enjoy looking at it because it's a very pretty car.
They are great looking.
I'm like, it's either red or yellow. And people are like, why would you paint over that? I'm like, and I ultimately went with a factory yellow, and that was just the paint alone was $1,500 just for paint, and painting that. And
I believe it.
But yeah, no, those cars are very special. But finding one and seeing that and seeing the community come together with just comments saying, what can we do? Who could buy it? We're going to part out.
Yeah, did anybody buy it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there's just a day I saw it, and it got every time I see one, it makes me want to go work on my Fiat. But again, I've got other projects. Got to get Liger back on track. We got to get the Lambo done.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to get the X19 done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best thing you saw, Shaun? What'd you see this
I think maybe a little bit offbeat, but if you guys, the listeners haven't picked up, I'm kind of an old hot rod guy.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And I took my daughters down to the car show Sunday. And, there's a bunch of shiny stuff out there, and there's everything, all generation of cars. 'Cause now with car shows, it's not just, your old 60s and 70s muscle cars. They're including everything in there.
Of course. Well, there wouldn't be many otherwise.
Exactly.
Nowadays.
And there was 3 rat rods out there.
Ooh.
And my daughters went past all the nice shiny stuff and went right to the rat rods, and they were glued to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
I just thought it was so cool. They could just appreciate. They're like, "This is so cool."
Yeah.
They are
just
cool.
old rust buckets. And I have a good friend that builds rat rods.
Well, what's cool about them, I think, is that, generally it's all drivetrain focused.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just ready to run. They can run great. You could take them anywhere. They're not comfortable, but they look badass.
They look, and the ingenuity that some of these guys use, like as a cross frame support. They weld in a camshaft in between the two frame rails.
That's crazy.
And that's their support.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
And there's a lot of ingenuity there, a lot of fabrication.
A lot of fabrication goes into those things. As dumpy as they look, and they're made to look that way.
There's a lot of thought.
There's a lot that goes into those cars.
And my daughters, like I said, they went past all the shiny stuff, all the new stuff, and went right to that, and they just thought they were just cool. So for me, I'm a big family guy, and my daughters are, mean a lot to me, and to get them involved in that, and they can go to and appreciate the same stuff that I appreciate. Yeah, that was really cool for me.
Very cool.
That is cool, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had one other this week. Actually, yesterday I saw early 70s Bronco.
Nice.
Orange with a white top. Just cherried out. The thing was perfectly done. Yeah, creamsicle.
Love it.
Beautiful, beautiful Bronco. I was like, there we go. That's really cool.
So my dad owned 3 of them.
Oh, yeah?
And he actually ended up selling one of them to my father-in-law.
Is that yours?
No, that's the one that was for sale.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it still for sale?
It's still for sale. It's $750 for that Fiat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that should be in your garage in the next day or so.
I don't need another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, years ago, before my old man passed away, and before I was married, my small town stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, my old man had 3 of them, and he ended up selling one of them to my father-in-law's dad.
Oh, really?
Which got passed down to my now father-in-law.
Oh, wow. So it's still in the family?
No, it's gone now.
Oh, it's gone now?
Yeah, it's gone now. But yeah, my old man was a big fan of
those are pretty cool.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love you touch them though. They're
not anymore.
They're so expensive, and it's thousands of dollars to buy one, even if you want to restore it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anybody here knows.
And the resto mod ones are insane.
Oh, absolutely.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But they're such cool rigs.
They really are. They were so small for what they were.
Yep.
And I was actually excited when the new Broncos came out. I looked at them. I'm like, oh, that's pretty close, and that's actually how we ended up with our new SUV. We went down to go look at them.
Yeah,
and we walked away with something different.
I had one. I had one for a while. I had a new Bronco. It was a manual. I enjoyed it.
I remember that.
Yeah, I loved it.
That was beautiful. Yeah,
it was a freaking awesome truck, but I just didn't really have the need for it.
Yeah.
It didn't tow much. Right? It didn't do what I needed to do.
Right.
But it was a freaking awesome truck, and it went off road perfectly.
Do you think they should have made a V8 or put a V8 into that?
Yes.
Okay. They should have made the R a real R.
Yeah.
They should have made it a real.
They should have put a 5.0 into it.
Yeah, a 5.0 would have been
5.0 would be enough.
Yeah.
But
even a 4.6 would be enough.
Right, but a 3.5 turbo. No.
Imagine if they put a
Mine was a 2.5 turbo.
I will say though,
it was terrible.
We went to go look at the Broncos, and we ended up coming home with the Explorer ST.
That's a good option.
I don't blame you.
Super comfortable.
Yeah. Way more of a family car,
and way better priced.
Yeah,
out the door, and you weren't in line to get one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they had my wife's like I am. She likes white cars, and they had I think it's the 3. It's either the 3-liter or the 3.5.
3.5 twin
turbo. 400 horse right out the gate.
See, there we go.
Yeah. And
you can't touch that in a Bronco unless it's an R.
Yeah. But the Bronco, I can see that with the Explorer, and the motor's awesome, right? And they're putting the same thing in the Bronco.
Yeah.
But
no, they're not.
I feel
they're not. The 3.5 is not
detuned.
in there. Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
The R is
it's a
3.3. No, I thought it was a 3.0 in the R. And the normal Bronco is a 2.7.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's the non-manual. If you want the manual, it's 2.3.
Oh, really?
2.3 turbo. It's crap.
Yeah. And
I just feel like it's a Bronco. It should have the V8 in it.
Yeah.
It's just like with the Camaros and the Mustangs. I don't think the V6 should have even been an option.
There's a project car right there.
I agree.
There's a project car. You're going to see those.
Oh, yeah.
As they age a little bit, somebody will pick them up. They'll put a 5.0 in it.
100%.
That'll be really cool.
Swap a Coyote into it.
And there's plenty of room in there.
Yeah. No, that'll be a cool rig right there.
Definitely.
And that'll be a really good off-road capable vehicle with more power.
Just to verify, so checking it, 2024 Bronco, 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, makes 275 horses,
which isn't awful.
Not bad.
That's actually not bad.
But today's standards,
but on 33-inch tires,
2.7 liter 6 EcoBoost makes 315 horses, 410 pounds-feet of torque.
Huh.
And then the Raptor R, has the 3.0 liter 6-cylinder that makes 418 horses and 440 pounds of torque.
See, that's not even more than the 3 or the what was it, 2.7?
Yeah.
What is that? Another 10 horsepower?
No, 100.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, that makes it because I didn't even think it had 400. But I mean, think of the 5.0 only makes the new one makes 580.
That's
I think
amazing.
it might be the 500.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but imagine how much weight are you putting in versus 4 extra cylinders and then, well, you're getting rid of the turbo too. But
probably not that much. I mean, you've got the extra horsepower to really handle it.
Yeah.
True on that one.
It probably will make it more dangerous and top heavy. And
It would be interesting,
but
it would
whatever.
be interesting to have the Bronco if they could have stiffened it up more so it could tow more. Make it just
Aftermarket.
That was my big
Yeah.
thing. That's why I
suppose.
got rid of mine.
Yeah.
It's because I couldn't tow anything with it.
Yeah.
4,500 pounds, right? Something like
It's
that.
got a shorter wheelbase though too.
It's super short.
well,
I
it's
had a 2-door,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I love the way it looked. It
Yeah.
looked
Yeah.
awesome.
I remember yours. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. But
Freaking
towing with
awesome.
that short wheelbase,
Yeah.
that sucks
Yeah.
anyways.
It does. It
Oh,
does.
I still want to get one, but just for a commuter car.
So do I.
Yeah.
I don't want to tow with it. or
Base
anything.
model,
Yeah.
manual.
I'll go to the mountains,
rocket.
go snowboard.
Yep.
And
Oh
whatever.
yeah, they work great.
I
want
want to get a
Yeah.
red one. I really do.
Yeah.
And
the red looks great.
Yeah. I might get one that's, I got the 250, but I might need another daily car too soon.
There you go.
You
Yeah,
know.
I think you will.
Do you think, Ian, because the tires came, 33 was a standard option, right?
Yes, mine was
As
33.
a daily commuter, do you think that was too big a tire on the car? And if so,
It's
what would have been
geared
the
for it, though.
better tire size to have for that?
I honestly thought it drove amazingly. It felt like a street car.
Okay.
It really did, even with 33s.
Yeah, well, it's geared for it.
And
so
then
it's
like
not
the
it's-
Sasquatch came with like 35s, I think.
Yeah.
Mine was Badlands, so it's like 33s. It was geared perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel too short, didn't feel too tall a gear,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel like luggy. It
That's
felt
cool.
great. It felt great.
I like it. I like it.
I
a
would
lot.
recommend that car to any listener, and you, Grant. I think it's a great
The
car.
only thing I knew that originally hit
It just
me about
didn't
the
fit
Bronco,
a place in my life.
the one thing that hit me about the Bronco was the first 2 years, and I don't know if they fixed it yet, had valve problems.
Yeah.
And that's,
So that was on the automatic. That was on the 2.7.
yes.
The 2.3 has been, the 2.3 has been bulletproof, dude.
Okay. But then it's like, if you're good 2.3, it's 275 horses versus, and then the 2.7, like we said, it's 315. I'd rather go with that, but then you have the possible valve problem. And then to jump to the 3.0, it's Raptor R money. That's the hard part is,
Yeah.
Big time.
like,
I don't
that
think
truck
it's
is not
the
worth,
jump.
90 grand?
Right. It's
For
not worth the jump.
100,000 bucks?
No.
Yeah.
Or for 100 more horsepower?
No.
Yeah, get out of here.
No. You can
I-
do an engine swap.
The
cheaper than
Bronco
that.
should have been,
Seriously.
new at 45 and stayed at 45. It shouldn't
I
have been,
agree.
here's a wait
Yeah.
list, here's 70 grand, here's dealer markup, and now here's problems with your brand new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I think it's a known
It's true.
problem now, the valve issues in the
Two-
21 and
yeah.
22.
Yeah.
And I think after that, they're okay, but it's one of those dealer fix-it kind of things. And so
For me, it's just
it's-
I want to wait a little longer. Just maybe
Yeah.
a year or two.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I might get one at the end of this year. We'll see how it goes. It's what should I pay off my 350? That's what I should do.
Yeah.
And then buy one. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so no rush, whatever. Guys, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks
you.
for coming
It's
in.
great having you guys on the
Sean,
show
thanks
today.
for coming in. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for
Ian,
having me.
Great talking
thanks
with you
for-
guys.
Thanks for sitting in.
Yeah, thank you for coming on,
Absolutely.
guys.
Yeah.
Grant, good job. Thank you.
Hey.
We didn't sweat it out and die tonight.
Oh, we have AC.
we have
Dude,
a
this
little.
I could sit here all night.
We have
Yeah.
AC. We can probably hear it in the background, but
We'll edit that out
it was-
with magic.
yeah, we might try. We might not. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
It's a good show. Thanks. Thanks to the listener. Thanks for hanging in there. Tell your friends, please. Hit follow.
We love hearing your comments. We love hearing your
We'd
reviews.
love to hear some more comments and
Yeah.
get some reviews. Send us an email at untitledcarproject@gmail.com.
And hopefully
And,
by the time this goes out, we'll have
Let
YouTube
us know how
up.
bad we are.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah. And hopefully by the time this goes out, we'll have YouTube up.
We're working on some YouTube,
Yeah.
and we'll probably work on some. Maybe we'll put some of our racing videos on there.
Yay.
We'll go to the track. We'll do some interviews there.
Mm-hmm.
Various different stuff.
Yay.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
All right. Night.
Bye.
Bye.